Hello, everybody, and welcome to the BOL Masters Finals today. I am Thousand Eyes. I am happy to be alongside Yanni today as we're going to bring you game number one here between, oh my goodness, I completely blanked right here. It is between Con Esports and Iceborn Dawn. Yanni, how are you doing tonight?
You know what? I'm not doing bad, Tess. I love League of Legends. I'm very excited to sink our teeth into some League of Legends, especially with these two teams. The 5 and 6 seed, I believe, very low seeded teams have made it all the way to the finals. What a fantastic dance it's been.
Yeah, it has been a lot of upsets to get us here. I was here last week as we saw Con take over Lit Esports Blue and get the victory here in pretty domineering fashion even as well. So they definitely look strong coming into this game here. And I would say it's fair to say that they are the favorites tonight going up against Iceborn Dawn.
You know, I feel that way. I know many others feel that way. I know that Storm, who does the BOL, Masters Weekly Report, also feels that way. But Iceborn Dawn is a team that going into the playoffs needed to prove themselves as a worthy playoff team, and they've done that so far. Their road has been a little bit softer. So this is the real test. I mean, it is the finals here. It's put up or shut up time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair to say at any point that the finals is the real test. Otherwise, you're just not getting a test, which, I'm cool with. I love when I just, if I had a class that never had a test, that'd be great, right? Like,
see, I was always good at tests.
Easy. Well, I mean, I was too generally, but I don't know. I would rather have something where I'm just like, cool, I just get to pass easy, great. But that is not what's going to be happening tonight as we're getting into our first draft. Con is going to be on the blue side, Iceborn on the red here, and that is Iceborn's decision to be on the red, which is a little bit interesting.
I see more and more teams opting to go to the red side because there's so many strong champion picks. I really like what's been coming out of teams R1 and R2 picks. I think that you get to do whatever combinations you want. If you want to lock in a Zyra or Khan bot lane or something, you can. If you want to pick a really strong jungler and a really strong top laner, think champions like, although you see Jarvan get banned by Iceborn Dawn, think champions like Jarvan Renekton or something like that. So I'm interested to see how Iceborn Dawn approaches the draft that way. But you see they're already starting to take out some of the stronger junglers, pretty concerned about how Absar has played on champions like the Jarvan. Very, not so much carry-oriented, but very helpful junglers, very gank-heavy.
Yeah, very tempo-creating junglers, if not anything else. But I've also seen a little bit, too, that on red side, if you just don't ban any power picks, or you, like, the options here are you ban all power picks so that blue side doesn't get one, or you leave 3 open so you can trade 1 for 2, which is a win in your favor right here. Right now, it looks like Iceborn wanting to take away the Jarvan and the Gwen here, take away Rizwan's ability to split push, which we did see Rizwan, although not pop off super heavily, played really well without a lot of assistance from Absar.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is I'm actually kind of surprised they're starting to focus Rizwan a little bit here because, Wistfully and Mr. Kiwi are very, very strong bot lane tandem, and Rizwan can pretty much play anything you want, right? So this Gwen ban signals to me that they're ready to put Mint Savage on a tank.
Yeah, I don't blame them considering how well Rizwan played in the previous game here. So Rizwan definitely going to probably look to pick up something that has some kind of split push potential. The first pick, though, for Khan is going to be that Orianna, which we have seen a lot of in the current meta.
I'm shocked, I tell you, shock test. We've seen it in our World's Watch parties and things like that. Yes, the wave of shock indeed. I am interested to see if they're going to go with the handshake and they're going to say, hey, we'll take Syndra on R3 or something like that. Or if they want to potentially get a little bit more aggressive with that pick. You can see them hovering and now locking in the Maokai. And it's been interesting because I've seen Maokai get flexed a lot more than I'm used to at this point, right? It seemed like for the longest time he was just a jungler, but I've seen him go top. I've seen him go support as well, but still one of the strongest in the patch. And taking some a page out of Gam's book from last night, Tristana locking here potentially against the Orianna.
Yeah, I would expect that probably in the mid lane because, I mean, if anything else, Orianna has weakness early. Her push power is not as strong as it gets later on, and she just doesn't have the ability to trade as much. So seeing the Tristana lock in early does not surprise me. The Ziggs, if that does get locked in, gives them flexibility. Either one of those champions could go mid or bot, so Iceborn can flip things around, and now Khan doesn't have a strong sense of what those lanes are going to end up being.
Yeah, and with the Ziggs too, that means that that's still shaken up a little bit here, right? Because
Yeah.
it still could be a Tristana mid. They could send Ziggs into the bot lane, so plenty of options here. But I am interested that they did not pick up the Syndra, so their ability to make some picks happen does leave a little bit to be desired as we head into the second half of bans.
And as we're going to see, the Thresh taken away from Mr. Kiwiism. For those, again, who did not see the stream last week, Mr. Kiwiism played Thresh, Blitzcrank, and did not miss a freaking hook the entire night. It was absurd how strong the Thresh was and how impactful it made that bot lane. Mr. Kiwiism very genuinely controlled bot lane in almost every single game that we had. And I think it was a very clear reason why Khan had such strong leads going into the mid game.
Yeah, but will he be able to do so against the bot lane of Iceborn Dawn is the question. This is the best bot lane in the league, Tess. Both of these players, Your Mom's OP and Chill Will Kills, ranking out as the #1 AD carry and support in the league. And that also is why I'm not 100% sure this Ziggs is going to go to the bot lane, especially after this Alistar lock.
Yeah, it does give a little bit more presence, especially in the early game. Now, the question does become, what is it up against, right? Because if we do see that Blitzcrank, the level 1 of Alistar becomes a little bit more scary because that presence early game can be a real big pain point, at least in getting some pressure. There's also the fact that if you do send Tristana bot lane, early on, Xayah's wave clear is a lot scarier here. The Bard lock-in here, though, is going to switch things up pretty heavily here. I'm very excited to see this. For those who do not know, I play a lot of Bard, or at least have played a lot of Bard in the past, and I'm very excited to see him come back in the meta as well.
Yeah, it's one of your favorite champions, so I want to actually give it to you here. What does this do for this Khan Esports composition? I mean, you are the Bard professional.
Yeah, I mean, what this at least does is make it so that we're expecting Xayah to just farm. And I think what this also means too is they're expecting the Ziggs in the bot lane. Because they're looking at that and saying, you know what, we can leave Xayah alone. And especially post 6, you absolutely can. But now with the Aatrox lock in here, what better support to have roam around and possibly show up in the top lane where Alistar won't be able to match as easily than Bard. So you now have the opportunity to be anywhere along the map. And yeah, Orianna, maybe not the greatest in terms of trying to move into the mid lane there, but you have a lot of flexibility in going up to the top side when you have somebody as mobile as Bard.
Does present a concern for Khan Esports, though, and especially that mid lane, right? Because maybe if Ziggs was headed to the mid lane, maybe they will shift it into the bottom lane now if they expect them to just kind of hang back under turret. As you know, Xayah, once she hits level 6, becomes a little difficult to dive. We saw a Yone lock in here. That's going to go over to Mint Savage. And I mean, Mint Savage has drawn a lot of Yone bans, right? It's so many this season. And gets through here. They elected to take out the Ornn instead. So this is a guy who you can't really leave him to his own devices. It's going to be a clash in the top lane here between Rizwan and Mint Savage for sure.
Definitely, yeah. With Yone, it is just kind of, we have seen it pop up. The Hullbreaker Yone, even if you do lose lane, there's still so much that you could do on this champion. It is so incredibly frustrating to try and play against. And I do like that we kind of went into this saying, oh, they're banning away the Gwen. They probably want to just try and pick up a tank here and force a little bit of a trade on that and just try to team fight their way out of this. But now they're putting a lot onto Mint Savage and saying, you know what, we think that you can outplay this. We think that you could get the lead in this lane and then control in the split push there. Now Rizwan is much more on the point to try and move with the team and actually team fight now.
Yeah, and one of the other big things is that you can take 1v1s against Yone as Aatrox, right? It's not like, oh, I'm going into a tank. It's going to be kind of lame. I'm going to farm up a little bit. No. this Con Esports squad is a squad that is ready to get really, really aggressive. And then you couple it with this Wukong in the jungle out of Absar, right? Spikes really early with that Sheen. Yone doesn't really have a way to escape. He positions incorrectly, and he's going to get bursted really, really hard on a gank that he might not be expecting.
Absolutely, especially now we have, again, very early ganking junglers, very early pressure that can be applied on both sides, right? Wukong, obviously he spikes very hard at 6, but he has a lot of damage, and with the right setup can pull off a really positive gank for his team. Maokai on the other side, though, we do know has the flash W at any point, and I'm really looking at the mid lane here. Maokai Tristana is a terrifying matchup to go up against when you no idea where he's going to come from. Flash W on the Orianna is a very big fear.
Yeah, as it looks like here so far, at least on our end, you won't be able to see this, is that it looks like it's trending toward a Tristana mid. We'll be able to confirm that for you when we get an opportunity. And the big thing that we're going to have to watch out for is the jungle pathing, because you talked about how Maokai Tristana is super strong. Absar is going to have to play catch up a little bit for some of these lanes, right? If Maokai happens to get a really early gank going, I mean, he's going to have to try desperately to match them, because I think in terms of damage, they would absolutely be able to win a skirmish. Yes. But we all know that Maokai very easily could just hit level 2 and say, you know what? I'm going to go for a gank.
Yeah, feeling a little bit of a mid-lane gank here. I also want to just call out really strongly that Khan, recognizing this, feeling very positive in the fact that it was going to be the Ziggs bot lane, locking the Bard there before they really knew like exactly where everybody was going. I really like that call. That shows a lot of research was done in terms of what they expected. That if we see the Tristana probably going mid, if we see the Ziggs Tristana, we know where they're going, and now we can lock the Bard. That opens up a lot more opportunities than if you maybe didn't have that level of information going in.
Yeah, and this also means, Tess, that the game is going to be so much more fluid, right? Both of these as supports, I'm expecting to roam around the map and cause some problems. It's almost going to be like there's 2 junglers for each team on the map. And, I think that this does benefit Iceborn Dawn a little bit more, though, because I do think that Ziggs farming up, getting pretty much a free lane, will be able to make more of an early impact than the Xayah.
You would think, right? Like it's definitely more capable for Ziggs to just farm up. Cool, we get to the big game. Ziggs didn't have to worry about a thing. He farmed from such a distance that he never has to interact with Xayah. I think it's just nice, though, that even with all of that, Alistar can't make any real plays off of that, because Xayah can do a lot of the same. She can clear waves very easily, and especially post 6, you're really going to have to work hard in order to try and get something with Xayah, even without the Bard being nearby.
Yep. And I'm still wondering how that's going to shake out, because I love playing 80 carries, and that I hate when there's a Bard on my team, because you just roam somewhere else, and I can do whatever.
Yanni, we have played together. You can just say it's me.
Yeah. Well, you take all my kills and then you go and roam away, right? That's the Bard.
That's
way,
putting gold on the map. All right.
Whatever.
All right. We're going to have to figure this out in the break here. So we're going to take it to a quick break as me and Yanni work out our differences. But when we get back, we're going to be right into game number 1. And welcome back, everybody. Yanni and I have worked out our differences. Everything is cool. We'll be able
Have
to
we?
cast the rest.
Hold on.
All right. Well, I thought we were good. Maybe
Yeah,
we're
okay,
not.
okay.
We'll talk about it later, Yanni.
We'll talk
Anyway,
about
we're
it
getting
later.
into game number 1. Mint Savage about to run into a whole squadron here, and we'll have to back away.
Hey,
But
now
that is
put
gonna
some.
just be.
Hold on. Put some respect on his name. That's C9 Mint Savage to you.
That's just the icon, Yanni.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
Oh my God.
I love
I'm
it.
not
It's
calling him
TL,
C9 Mint
TL,
Savage.
your mom's OP. IPD Vertigo. Wait a minute. Hold on. That's just Iceborn done, but.
Can you imagine if it was C9 IBD?
It did clear out that top ward in that tribe rush. It did get some deep wards on the top side of the map. So that is going to be pretty useful in determining whether or not, where Vertigo, I should say, is starting and how Abzar wants to approach this.
Exactly. And especially important here for mid 2 easy to know where this Maokai is. Because again, that is one of the major points that you want to see this Maokai try and attack. And if you know where the Maokai is, you know which side you can play on.
We're going to see them both start up on the top side, which usually means that there could be a potential collision course in the bot lane, which, you know, is actually quite surprising and subverts our expectations a little bit potentially, right? Because we don't think that there's going to be a whole lot going on in this bot lane. In fact, you know, you're pretty adamant that we're going to see this Bard go top very, very early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, my expectation is Bard's going to move up. Now, granted, I don't think that's going to happen before these junglers will go, oh, I love this adaptation here by Vertigo, who is just moving down to the bot side here and just cleared the Raptors, immediately going for the enemy Raptors here, and might just come behind on mid 2 easy unexpectedly here. That is a massive change up here, just working off the wards.
Yeah, that's such a smart move there. They had no idea that he got in there, and like a thief in the night is going to find a way out. And already is going to head back to his bottom side jungle here. Thought he was going to go on mid 2 easy for a second. I actually think he should have.
I think the chance was there. I think you just take it at that point, but clearly does not want to take the risk. It is finals after all. You do not want to start on the wrong foot. Mint Savage has, however, as we have gonna go to the analyst desk here.
Yeah, you did say.
All right, it is just us. All right.
You did say that you didn't want to start off on the wrong foot, and look what happens.
I'm sorry. What you did. Look, I did my best here. All right, I can't control the internet connections of 10 people.
Okay, that's fair. What was pretty interesting though is, you know, we saw Vertigo, as we talked about for a short moment, head back into his bottom side jungle and had the option to go mid, but you know, he's got the option to go pretty much everywhere, right? You know, his bot lane's getting pushed in here, his top lane's getting pushed in here. I am just kind of surprised that he's going to just take the time and say, hey, you know, I want to go get this blue buff. Maybe, you know, I want to go hit level 3. But, you know, that does allow time for Abzar to be able to match him, because Abzar is missing a camp now, right? So
yeah,
while yes, you're going to be a little bit behind in terms of jungle kills, right? Jungle camp kills. By the time you finish your full clear, well, your full clear is actually faster because it's not a full clear.
I mean, it's not only that too, but you're definitely going to be ahead of Vertigo, because Vertigo took Raptors and then went all the long way around to just get another set of Raptors here, as opposed to just straight line beaming it through the jungle to try and clean up here. So Vertigo definitely, you know, something else. But that is at the very least a mix-up that might mess with the timers here.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, mostly because, you know, it looks like Vertigo is like, okay, well, now I'm going to take bottom and head back top and go do my reverse clear, right? And that just means that your bottom lane's going to suffer a little bit here. Your mid lane, if you don't, you know, hit him with a drive-by gank, right, is kind of going to be stuck under the turret, which is very surprising and not really what we've seen out of an Orianna Tristana matchup. But that does mean that he can't impact the top lane as we are getting ready to head back into the game.
As we have finally gotten the reconnects here, so things have evened up here. Early push here on the bot side does give Vertigo some opportunity here, but as we said, Wukong being right by here, they may just go for the invade.
Oh, you are so right. They're going to get a nice deep ward down here. That does mean that they are well aware of where Vertigo's at, and they are well aware that he doesn't have that red buff. And you can see, look at the way Absol is starting to pack, at least toward Vertigo, to maybe fight him on his wolves.
And look at Bard. Bard doing what Bard does best, following along here. Vertigo might be in a little bit of trouble here as they're just going to move over. The flash Q to get stunned on the wall and the ignite. First blood easily going over to Absol in a nice adaptation to the jungle path.
Really a fantastic play out of the side of Con Esports X, right? You got your advantage by pushing in the bot lane, and they said, you know what, we're going to actually do something with our advantage. They spot him down on the ward, and they're like, well, you know, all right, if he doesn't have his red buff, like, what's his path? Like, all right, he's probably going to still be in this bottom quadrant, and now look where Absol is headed. He's going to fight Vertigo on his red buff, and Mid2Easy and Kiwi are on the way.
Oh, no, it's all going wrong here. Vertigo may not be able to play the game, and the red buff is just going to get taken too. It's going to reset. Mid2Easy is getting vision now, but now Mid2Easy might be a little bit caught out here. Jumped on by Fui, but they're going to back away here because they do not have the numbers advantage.
Yeah, Fui did what they could there to try to help out Vertigo, but look at where Mint Savage is. He's pushed in on the top side, but he's not helping his top side jungle, right? This is really bad news for Vertigo, who's down a flash, but Chilwell kills on the roam up.
Yeah, they're going to get the knock up, but the flash away will get Absol to safety, and the Bard portal, Mid2Easy, will get jumped again, but should not really be in that much fear. So all of that just to kind of trade pressure as the bot lane's just going to continue to fight here. Your Momzo B does not have any mana here. Popping the biscuits desperately. Might be in a little bit of trouble. You're going to try and flash over the wall wistfully. Going to flash over to follow. And there is Mr. Kiwiism to help. Alistar is now left alone. And Chilwell Kills will have to run away. Fleetwee's coming around. Flash away from Chilwell will get him over the wall. But that's still a dead Ziggs.
Look at the hyper aggression of Con Esports X here in the mid lane, in the bottom lane, and back again at the red buff.
They just get everything here. They get the kills, they get the red buff. Absol now able to just fight. Vertigo does not want to be here. And Absol just gets to walk out for free. This is a huge advantage. Just look at the goal difference this early on in the game.
Look at the pings too. Like Rizwan he's calling Rizwan over, going. And the Vertigo is just staying still. Everything the light touches is Absol's right now.
Absol just gets complete domination here. Chilwell has come up to try and help out. Rizwan pops the World Ender. They're going to try and push Vertigo out here, but these cooldowns going down might be a problem. Fate Seal does not hit. Min Savage just going to fly by like ships in the night to get back over and back away.
Yeah, and then meanwhile in the mid lane, Mid2Easy gets the 1v1 kill onto Fui. Absolute disaster here for the side of Iceborn Dawn. It just feels like they haven't been able to get into the game at all.
Yeah, now Fui though wanting to get back over. Shockwave is going to try and get them out, but the bomb is going to pop and Fui gets the return kill. A little bit overstaying here by Mid2Easy.
Yeah, far too greedy there. I mean, you had your flash available too to try to, you know, at least burn Fui or try to just get out of there, right? But, you know, you get a kill in a matchup where you really shouldn't, and then you just kind of, you know, you just overstay, right? And this is what happens at this level of play sometimes. Everybody is so confident in their abilities, and sometimes this confidence kind of bites you in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, it was... At the very least, it was a tight window, right? You had the Bard there to try and push in. You're trying to at least get that and just back away. Just a couple seconds difference would have made that an easy escape for Mid2Easy. But good pickup by Fui to get that kill and at least try to give some kind of gold over to Iceborn.
Yes, Iceborn reeling from those early plays, but Vertigo trying to get back into it. You know, he's got a Gromp to farm up. He is only level 4, though. This means that Abzar is going to hit level 6 before him. He's got quite a large lead on him. He's got that Sheen power spike. So really, these junglers and their impactful ultimates is going to be Abzar, who's the first one to really go ahead and make another play. And if it happens to be like a 2-for-0 around an objective, or God forbid a 3-for-0 if you're the side of Iceborn Dawn, that could just mean that Con Esports X is really too far ahead. But Kiwi, what are you doing here?
Kiwi, I think not angling that one correctly will end up losing his life, and that is a major mistake there. by Mr. Kiwiism. And now Fui coming around here. Wistfully does have the ultimate. Featherstorm's not going to get popped just yet, and it might just not be used at all. Saves the cooldown for another day. And now that is a 2-1 Tristana.
I need your expert Bard opinion on that one, Tess, because I'm racking my brain to figure out what the hell happened. And in the blink of an eye, everybody on the bottom side is dead. I mean, Wistfully hung on to his ultimate too. And, you know, when I thought it was going to be, yeah, Absar is going to go make a play around this dragon when he hits level 6. Instead, it's Iceborn Dawn, the ones to secure this Drake after a bottom fight that just inexplicably went their way.
I mean, that's what we as a Bard player say, like, Bard giveth and Bard taketh away. It's usually with the ultimate, but I get the tunnels can have a little bit of finickiness too. So that is a little bit sad here. And now we've evened up the kill score, and the gold has evened a lot as well. It feels like these couple of like little mistakes here have cost Khan very deeply here. Now Vertigo level 6 is matched in the experience at the very least and has that major ultimate to set up these team fights.
They do sacrifice Rift Herald in order to pick up that dragon. We all know how tempo works, and sometimes you gotta give something up to get something. So Rift Herald gonna go in the pockets of Khan Esports X, at least it appears for right now. And I mean, look, Chillwell Kills has to sweep around everywhere else in the topside jungle because they know that Absar is just an absolute maniac, right? Like he could just be lurking this entire time. So potential to get some money in the form of a couple of down plates.
Right, yeah. And I mean, so we know Khan, really good tempo right now. What BPM would you say that they're at right now?
Oh my God, whatever. What's that game that you play? That one. Yeah. That one rhythm game that you play.
Yeah.
You're rocking at like what 130, 140 BPM songs, right? Like that's exactly what I'm expecting right here. You know, it obviously got slowed down a little bit because he stopped on the Rift Herald, but that's just the lull.
The bridge,
song,
yeah.
You know, the bridge, exactly. I'm not a musician, you know, so I don't know exactly what that's called.
Yeah. It's a couple of things you could call it, but I mean, bridge works.
The stoppy time.
The stoppy. I've never heard it called that. I think at that point, yeah, I think it's clear you're not a musician. But the game's going to even out a little bit here. We're going to see some items start to get picked up here. Lost Chapter will give a little bit more staying power for this Orianna to keep pushing waves and try to match this Tristana a little bit easier.
Yeah, and you can see the top laners going mano-a-mano for a little bit as Rizwan getting the better of Mint Savage. And, you know, we saw Mint Savage almost make his impact on the game, but he missed that fate sealed in that fight that feels like it was a year ago at this point. But we all know how much CC that Yone can provide, and if you line things up with Vertigo, you can be in really, really good shape. We all know that Yone is a champion that, you know, is really strong even when he's on fairly little items. So if Mint Savage can kind of help out his team a little bit here, but I mean, he can barely help himself out. He's still having a rough time.
Yeah, the Q3 is not hitting, and that's going to cost big time now. Wistfully on the bot side here in a little bit of trouble. Featherstorm's going to be used. They get a lot of damage, but Wistfully takes a lot in return. Those Bard health packs are going to be really needed right now. Absar is also going to try and clean up some vision in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, they saw that your mom's OP used the Ziggs ultimate, right? So he's got a little bit of wave clear, but not as super omega awesome wave clear. As you see, they'll ward this out. They know that Absar is in the area, and they're just going to say, hey, you know, it looks like it's time for us to give up a couple of plates here. You get a little too close, you'll get burnt, even with the Alistar. But here comes Absar.
Yeah, going in, gets the Cyclone onto your Bob's OP, will get the pack away. Now the Bard ult hits, and that's exactly what they needed. There will be the Ziggs falling. Chillwell Kills going deep will pop the Unbreakable Will, and that's going to bait Wistfully into the tower, but nobody hit the Xayah, so it is just an execute.
Bard's got the tempered fate, but Wistfully couldn't temper their expectations. They went so deep for Chillwell Kills there, and Chillwell Kills is like, bro, I still got my ultimate. What are you doing? They do get a lot of plates for that play, which is great, but Wistfully misses out on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It was also a fast bag, right? So we talked about tempo. We're keeping tempo, right? Like we get a little bit of a fast back there.
Yeah, you know, listen. Some people call that, you know, some people just call that buffs to death timers. You know.
I guess they would. As we look up on the top side and still see Mint Savage struggling here, not hitting these Q3s, and now Rizwan maybe just gonna go in, gets the flash out of the Yone, and this Aatrox has looked really strong on the top side.
Yeah, Mint Savage could have tried to use his ultimate there, but if Rizwan just decides to step in the way, Mint Savage isn't really going to go anywhere. But if Rizwan steps in the way, he's under a turret, right? So he might have been able to just save it, but maybe a little bit of panic in his eyes after continuously not being able to get these trades in his favor. And I mean, those plated steel caps are putting in work for this Aatrox.
I mean, let's also be honest. Mid Savage is currently in Hullbreaker waiting room.
True.
Right? Like, we're just going to see in a couple of minutes from now that Hullbreaker is going to be finished. Yone is going to be just kind of unkillable. And he's just going to split push till the end of the game. So I don't think Mid Savage is feeling it too heavily, but it is a little bit of a fear.
Yeah, and that might be the best thing is, what's going on down here?
We went a little bit too hard here onto Bob Zafim. Satchel's in, somehow makes it work, and the Maokai ultimate will get him out. Tempered Fate is going to get popped, but it only gets hit onto the Alistar. Not really going to get much of that, and that's a pretty big tempo loss for the side of Khan.
What is going on with these bot lanes, Tess? I don't understand. It just feels like every time we look, we're like, what's going? You put your hands on your hips, you shake your head. What's going on down there? Like, yeah. I don't know how these plays are happening, but they're working. The problem is the gold's going to chill will kills and not to your mom's OP. But they do have some more pressure off of picking off Wistfully, and that means a second dragon going over to Iceborn Dawn. And, sometimes you play for them, but for them so far, it's been a matter of convenience.
It really has, right? Like, we saw how rough the early game was. The fact that they got the first 2 dragons of the game is surprising, if nothing else. So at least taking advantage of the wins that they have had and getting themselves into some kind of a win con here is, as we start to head towards the 15-minute mark, we're going to start to get, Vertigo is going to take that portal here and get back over. Wistfully tanking tower, does not have the Featherstorm. There is the headbutt, and they're just going to give this one over to your mob's OP. Now mid too easy, going to try and help Mr. Kiwiism. Flash, Shockwave does not hit anything. They'll get the kill most likely onto the Alistar. No, Unbreakable will get that one. If we can't confirm onto the Bard either. Blinking health bards across the board here, as they're just going to have to run away.
The Bard portals keep taking away, Tess. Every single time a Bard portal goes down, somebody on their team dies. The good news for them is they got the turret because of that Rift Herald play that Absar made. So it's not all doom and gloom for the side of Khan Esports X, but they're looking mighty disjointed. And they're okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Disjointed is, I think, a good word for this. Yeah, it's as soon as like Bard is like, oh crap, I gotta get out of here, got a portal, and then you kind of just forget, oh, there's a Maokai coming right behind me. I bringing a Maokai directly onto my AD carry who is right next to the tower. And unfortunately, Wistfully does kind of pay the price for that one. But with the respawn timers here, with the resets, they're going to move up to that top side and try and fight over this Rift Herald. A nice knock-up. Q3 Fate Sealed is going to go on to a couple, and they're going to get the kill onto Absar, which should give them the Rift Herald. Wistfully just trying to lay damage into the Alistar, not getting the kill, though. And that'll be the reset. A nice headbutt onto the Raptors to dodge out the Bard Q. While they're not going to get the Rift Herald, they still get an advantage off of it.
Yeah, we were waiting for Min Savage to make his mark in a fight, and he finally did with a huge Fate Sealed that caught 2 members and forced Wistfully's ultimate out. They do get a kill out of it, but again, Iceborn Dawn, they just continuously bleed objectives here because of their early lanes not going the way they wanted them to, right? This bot lane was low with the Rift Herald. Mid lane, mid too easy, was getting the better of Fui here, which means they get to push in and take that turret with relative ease despite losing a member. And that just means that Khan Esports X, they're growing their gold lead even in fights that aren't going their way.
I mean, it's not even just that. It's the fact that they might get a kill out of these fights, but everybody's health bar is low after that. They can't do anything after it. And it's starting to become a little bit of a problem in terms of the objectives here. It's why we're seeing the gold advantage over on Khan, despite the kills and the dragons going over to Iceborn. It's a little bit of a weird game state here, but at the very least, you know, you're getting gold onto the members here, and maybe you can take advantage of it here. Wistfully starting to get strong here, working towards that mythic item here, and the Xayah is going to start to pop off pretty shortly.
Yeah, although it's not really the greatest pop-off game. Has quite a lot of CS, but 2 and 4. It's been a little bit rough, but soon their ultimate's going to be up. They're going to have all summoners up, and this does mean that because they've just been priority bullying their way through, Con Esports X going to take another Rift Herald. This turret is low, and they're setting up for a dive here on Mint Savage, and he's got no idea.
No, I think he's got an idea now. Will peek over here, has the E to pop back, but that maybe not what they wanted. Just gonna use the Bard on the tower. Easy kill onto Mint Savage, and this is gonna give another tower over here. They want to kill that before the charge hits. They do succeed in that. And now they're going to get even more pressure here. They're bringing 4 people up here to get this tier 2 tower.
And the answer is putting Maokai bottom to try to take care of mid too easy. So it's up to Chill Will Kills and your mom's OP to try to stop this onslaught.
As now that is going to be another tower down. Chill Will Kills now a little bit too far forward. Unbreakable will not be enough. And now Alistar is gone. Tempo has completely pushed onto Khan, and they're going to get a charge on the tier 3 now. That is a lot of objective pressure that they have now gained.
And they couldn't get the kill on the Orianna. They couldn't get the turn in the bot lane, although maybe he spoke too soon here. Sweefy still in the area, but mid too easy, snuffing it out. They just lost so much there and got nothing.
Yeah, mid too easy, not even phased by it here. You can see still full health. It didn't even matter. Tower's going to stay up. Massive gold swing here, not only in kills, but the tower gold as well. And they're going to back reset. We have Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. This is the perfect timing here for Khan.
Yep, we're going to see a teleport get burnt out here from this Orianna. They might want a little bit of a fight out of it, because look at how fast this Ori's moving.
Yeah, that is so much damage onto Mint Savage. Flash by Chill Will Kills as well. All of a sudden, it is complete defensive posture here by Iceborn. And I don't know what you do from here. You just got to give the dragon, and you've got to lick your wounds for a little bit.
Now, the good news for the side of Iceborn Dawn is because of their early dragon stacking, that means that a potential win condition for Con Esports X is going to take a lot longer to get online, right? And that means it'll be time for Mint Savage to get that hull breaker and become that unkillable side laner, but just not quite there yet. And if you're hanging your hat on that, you need Mint Savage to get this item very soon, but Rizwan has been needing him at every turn.
Yeah, and you can see Rizwan just keeping so much onto Mint Savage. Item is still not there, and it's showing. Meanwhile, Mr. Kiwi is suddenly in the middle of the team. The Bard portals are not working out.
Well, he tried to portal to get away there, I think, but it just means that it was just poor movement there from Mr. Kiwiism, and I gotta say, it's been a pretty big surprise. I feel like if these Bard plays hadn't been so strange earlier in the game, we could be talking about a game that is over, but we're talking about a game where Iceborn Dawn is hanging on by a thread, and, the next fight from Con Esports X could be the big haymaker to put him out of it.
Definitely. It does feel like Iceborn are kind of on the ropes right now. And while, again, I will liken Bard to Blitzcrank in this sense, in that one good temper fate makes up all the difference, right? If you struggle the entire game, you get one good Bard up that sets your team up for a fight, it does not matter anymore. Especially when you're running the Radiant Virtue, which a lot of Bards have been going as of late, which just gives you so much team fight power, right? If you use it defensively, you're healing through the tempered fate. If you use it aggressively, you're setting your team up to heal as the fight is starting out. So Bard right now can still swing this game.
Yep, has swung the game in various directions right now. I don't know if their team is winning in spite of the Bard or because of the Bard, but I have to say Mr. Kiwiism's warding has been really, really good. They've been doing a great job of getting deep penetration in the topside jungle here and really forcing Iceborn Dawn to be uncomfortable, and for Vertigo to walk into Fog where he's got no idea where any enemies are, doesn't have a whole lot of resistances to stop anything. You saw he dodged that QW combo from Ori. It would have chunked him.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult now, though, because, again, the jungle does not belong to Iceborn anymore. They do not get to walk up there. They're pretty much just stuck waiting for these lanes to get pushed into them, and that's a very scary place to be in when the Baron is up and very easily takeable by Khan.
Yeah, we all know that Zaya, sorry, can rip through it pretty quickly.
Don't remind
right?
me. We finally got the game without Kaisa. Don't forget that.
We did finally get the game without Kaisa, yes. But their team can just rip through it super quick, right? They have got damage coming from 4 different sources. So if they want to just go for it after, clearing some vision, they can do it. And you can see Baron pings going down there. They have an idea that like, hey, they might be working on it, who knows? Then just putting that seed of doubt into the mind of Iceborn Dawn is going to go a long way toward forcing them to make a mistake, because this is a team that after their first couple weeks in the league, they were like, hey, we want to play really clean League of Legends moving forward. That's how they got here. And despite the fact they're down 4,500 gold, I have to say, I think they've played a pretty okay game. It just feels like they're getting hands diffed just a little bit.
I mean, I think the early game pressure hurt them bad, right? I think, all right. Well, there's the Bard ult there. We get the double stun afterwards, and it does not matter after that. Shockwave is there, and there goes Vertigo. Chillo Kills has the Unbreakable Will again, but still not enough. A double kill going to mid too easy, and they're just going to move right over to the Baron.
I'm waiting for the pause to come in because of a disconnect, right? They got CZ, they got hit with the Tempered Fate, and then they couldn't move after it. And hey, listen, those are your two tankiest targets. They were there for damn near 5 minutes. It looked like Morgana in Earth mode hitting binding after binding. They were just stuck in the mud, and that means Baron to Khan Esports X, and this is where they're going to break open the game.
Yeah. Your mom's OP will take the mid tower, but that is a pittance in comparison to what they got in response there. Your mom's OP will also burn the flash, which makes this Ziggs, again, a little bit weaker. And again, we're still, as we move up to this top side, Min Savage still building these items here, has not hit the break point yet. And we're 25 minutes into this game.
What is bro cooking right now? Like, it looks like he's just not going for that hull breaker, and it does mean could be.
Oh no, Wistfully. Massive pullback here, but does not have the damage to take down two. Mr. Kiwi is a flash for fun there. Will not get the kills on that one. And that is going to be at least, again, a picked up by Iceborn. They've been doing that pretty successfully throughout the game. It's just not meant anything.
Yeah, they've been really good at punishing any over-aggression from Khan Esports X, any movement errors, but they haven't done anything with it so far, and they're going to look to make a play down here.
Yeah, they're going to try to go in here. Chillo Kills going in. There's the Cyclone to try and block out here. A Bard ult to keep mid too easy alive, but Vertigo's coming around on the side. Your mom's OP trying to pump out damage, but just in the middle of the fight. Nice headbutt to get them away, but Rizwan is still healthy and going. Vertigo has split out, going back in onto the clone, flashing away. Will succeed. Gets the pullback in there as another knockup hits Rizwan. Very desperately low, but the heals are insane, and Rizwan cleans up, and that is an ace given over to Khan Esports X.
They saw, you know what they saw, Tess? They saw the grievous wounds on Rizwan and him on low HP, and they're like, guys, we can kill him. He's not going to heal. But he got the kill, and he healed anyway. And then he got another kill, and he healed more anyway, even after diving that turret. And Khan Esports X have just put their boot on the throat of Iceborn Dawn here, because now this base is going to get cracked open, and they're taking another dragon on top.
Yeah, I want to kind of just remind people, when World Ender is active on Rizwan, that's essentially negating out grievous wounds for the most part, on top of just the fact that the inherent healing on the E as well, passive. It really is not as people think, oh, he can't heal at all. It's like, no, you've just made him heal normally now.
Yeah, and now bad news if you are Iceborn Dawn, right? Because this base has been cracked open, and this means that more pressure from Khan Esports X. They can go wherever they want, and because no hull breaker, players like Mid Too Easy and Rizwan are easily able to match Min Savage, right? Mid Too Easy's up 2 levels, and Fui is coming to help out, but that Orianna ultimate, a little wayward.
We're clearing
there.
waves.
But one other thing to point out here is take a look at the summoners. It's Min Savage and Fui with a flash, but guys like your mom's OP and Vertigo, nothing. And Absar has flash available to be able to hit a really big Cyclone in the next fight and really put this game to bed.
Absolutely. Here, as we're going to see, again, jungle being taken here. Although they may take advantage of this. Bard can portal over. There is the Maokai ult. They're going to try and catch out this Orianna. Tempered Fate does not hit, but it pushes them back a little bit. They're going to jump in. Ziggs ult as well. Mid Too Easy goes down. And that is a successful pick here. They've just got to back off. But again, I don't think they can do anything with this. It's just 300 gold.
Yeah, and if Absar and Kiwi can kind of keep them busy, it can allow time to push. Wistfully is going to slide down here to take this bottom inner turret with Rizwan, right? And now a fight's going to break out on the top side. Odd man fight.
Yeah, and now if we jumping over the wall here, we'll get a lot of damage. Mr. Kiwism has to back off now. Absar over the wall, try to get back onto that Tristana. Will dash over, gets the kill there, and that is another death. 2 will kills also falling here, and the damage just is not there. They cannot kill this Wukong, and Vertigo also low, backs away, will not get the kill onto the Maokai, but still another fight win, and the bot side is being taken all throughout that.
Yeah, you saw the ultimate get used from Min Savage because it's on cooldown against Wistfully, and it couldn't do anything. This is the weakest Yone I've seen in my life. Holy crap, they blew up your mom's OP.
Just immediately gets taken down. Another Maokai ult to try and give space here, but it's not gonna prove enough. First tower on the Nexus gonna fall. A weird stun on the Alistar. We're not gonna talk about that one. Mid Savage now just goes immediately down. This Orianna is popping people. Quickly gonna come in, try to get damage onto Rizwan, but that is the healer. That is Rizwan healing back up, almost back to full HP after that fight. And now, Bard Tempered Fate, they're not even gonna try to end the game. They want the ace, and Con Esports X look dominant.
Call him the healer, call him the Rizzler, call him Rizwan. The dude was unkillable, 4-0-6, and really the entirety of Con Esports X had a fantastic game here. I like what Iceborn Dawn was doing, right? They were taking what Con Esports X was giving them in some of these fights. They were doing a great job of punishing any over-aggression, but the problem is, Tess, if you 2 for 1 all the time, not in your favor, but it's like, hey, well, we got one. All of a sudden, you look at the scoreboard, and the kill score is 20-10, and your Nexus has been exploded.
Yeah, it was really controlled dominance there for Con there. As we're going to take a look at the stats. I do not have them personally.
You'll see them
at some point. Yeah, we will see them at some point, I'm sure. As we're going to, yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we got them on board. All right, yeah. As I think not really surprised here, the Orianna damage as we hit the end of that game was kind of gross. On top of just like your mom's OP, still a really solid game, all things considered. The DPS was there from the Ziggs. It just never really seemed to get the kills they needed.
Yeah, what was pretty interesting is that it feels like that the picks were swapped here for Fuifui and your mom's OP, right? Because you saw Fuifui in the early game. I mean, Tristana, you're expecting to go in at level 2, right? That's the time where you want to take your trade with your W, with your E, and get some damage onto the mid laner and get them scared. He elected not to do that, right? Would have probably played more of a Ziggs style of champion, right? Meanwhile, your mom's OP was doing plenty of damage in the early game. It was getting really, really aggressive onto Wistfully and Mr. Kiwi. That's how they were able to get some kills. So for the next game, I want to see a little bit more agency on your mom's OP. I mean, that bot lane, again, the #1 bot lane in the league. And then Fuifui, I'd like to see them on something a little bit more control mage oriented, maybe like the Syndra that we had mentioned earlier in the draft.
Yeah, there is like one thing that I do want to bring up that we kind of touched on in the game is that early level 2 gank that we did not see happen from Vertigo. We saw the setup, we saw Orianna pushed up enough, and we just saw Vertigo walk back away, and things got really hectic from there. The Maokai was choked out of his jungle from there. I wonder if we see that level 2 gank, if things end up differently in that game. But with that, we're going to set it to a quick break as we get ready for the next game, guys. Do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back after this.
All right, welcome back. That was an epic game one for the finals for BOL Masters, and we are actually joined for the first time this split. We have a couple analysts, and one of them you might recognize. It is Thousand Eyes. They were relegated. No, I'm just kidding. It's not relegated.
We
Just
kicked me off.
They came down to analyst desk. Shibby is back for game two, but Thousand Eyes will give their very insightful information for what happened game one. We have Dia, who is very well known in BOL. They are a Hall of Famer of mine, and then we of course have Dory K. It was a eventful game one. Iceborn was, they made some plays, but it felt like they're on the back foot. What happened in that game?
I mean, Thousand Eyes, you were there to watch it, and I heard you talking about what was going on. The scariest thing to me was not just the early game plan that Khan had, but then how after I think a pretty successful recovery from that, Khan were able to reassert themselves. Do you want to go back through how you felt that was happening?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we saw the early pressure, and I think I liked to see them taking advantage of what Wukong is good at early, which is fighting people, versus just cutting off the Maokai and not allowing him to use the early gank pressure that he does have. So I really loved seeing that. Just a couple of mistakes then gave the opportunity for Iceborn to get back in it, and just from then on, it felt like every time Iceborn could find any kind of advantage, any kind of pick, their health bars were too low, or they weren't in a position where they could get towers or get objectives, and the timing just seemed off. Whereas the timing always felt like they weren't just planning to get kills, they were planning to get the towers afterwards, to get the dragons, to get the Rift Heralds, the Barons, always something extra on top of the win off the fight.
It's certainly true. Actually, Dory, you and I were talking about this as well, but even before we got into game, you felt like there were some mistakes made here. Do you want to talk to me about the draft of game one?
Yeah, I totally understand that Tristana is a slightly favorable matchup into Orianna, and it should be able to get pushed. But when these kind of large collapses happen in the early game, Khan playing very, very well around bot lanes, Praya with the Bard, it made it so that these collapses took a matchup that should have given Fui first rotation not very, very often. It made it incredibly difficult for him to play the game. And you could kind of see that reflected in the mounting gold lead that came from the CS gap.
Yeah, Bully, does it sound like we've covered everything? I still feel like we're missing quite a bit from how Khan ended up taking that game over.
I mean, you can see the pressure that the jungle had. Absar on the Wukong. You see their OP.GG. You see their picks. They have those champions that just want to go into their face. And Iceborn opted to go for the Maokai, knowing fully well they're going to get invaded. And we saw at the very beginning of the game where it felt like three people from both sides were getting pulled in that top side red jungle to just try to protect the red from the Maokai, and eventually they lost it anyway. So I think a lot of these laning phase came down to how much pressure the Absar had on this Wukong. Mid lane, top lane, both had counter picks, but it felt like nothing was going on there. Do you see something changing in game two?
I don't know. I mean, Thousand Eyes, I'm gonna come back to you again. I think I would like to see this hopefully side switch come in because I think Iceborn can get a lot more out of blue side.
Yeah, I mean, I think it became very clear the counter picks were not what was going to get you a win in that game. There definitely seems to be like, okay, we need to find power picks. We need to find something that is going to just give us strong early pressure, or something that seems really powerful. Obviously, having to ban out the Jarvan, which has been such a premier pick at high elo, just how much early presence it has. You think about the difference of how that game maybe goes. If you're on blue side, you maybe get the Jarvan through, or at the very least get some powerful pit to play around. It just kind of did not seem like Iceborn had anything early on, especially when you have one of your strongest players on the Ziggs, who's just kind of farming for a while, and Bard is able to just run around the map and do what he wants.
Well, roaming was such a big thing this game, and outside of picks even, Dory, I want to hear about how you can actually stop that. I know that Khan had Bard, but if you're not banning Bard, or let's say that he's not playing it, how do you actually stop Kiwi from being the still coin flippy, massive influence on the game that he is?
Yeah, I think that honestly, Bard having the leeway to escape is really important, and almost more important than support prio in terms of like range versus melee matchups. Alistar is not able to play the first few parts of lane. Xayah also has this really safe style of play where even if Ziggs does get that push, they have the dive opportunity. You don't because of Featherstorm. So it makes it so that every time Xayah gets pushed in, Xayah is able to play safe, able to get a reset, able to play around the timing on the wave, and Bard's able to run all over the map. If I'm gonna be honest, it'll probably have something more to do with punishing Kiwiism when he makes those rotational plays, because the composition's capable of doing it. It's just like they were constantly crashed into their tower when these plays were happening, and it made it so Kiwiism could just run all over the map.
Yeah, he was having a great time. Bully, does that feel like we're covering it?
It is, but speaking of picks, we do got confirmation that Iceborn's going to opt to actually take red side yet again, which leaves
Whoa!
Oriana to possibly be one or to get banned. Do you expect that to be going through again this game?
I mean, if it isn't banned, Khan's gonna pick it. I'm gonna jump to you, Dory. We saw what was it that was banned for Iceborn?
Gwen.
They
Yeah,
took
Gwen.
Gwen, Jinx, and
Yeah.
Jarvan.
Yeah, I
Do
think Jinx is an incredibly strong pick right now. Just due to the nature of the changes to her passive, people have been prioritizing her much more heavily, and then the buff to the Super Mega Death Rocket makes it easy to initiate that snowballing effect. At the same time, I don't think it's like be all end all, but I think Gwen is not this champion that they're going to pick super early in the draft. Because it is such a situational pick. I think banning Gwen in the first rotation is something that you can afford to let go of, unless you absolutely think that there is nothing that your top laner can do. But I mean, they gave counter pick to their top side, so they have the ability to deal with Gwen if it does get locked in.
Let's talk about the top side a little bit. Thousand Eyes, top side was pretty darn scary to me. I know it wasn't really the highlight of this game, but it was definitely the highlight of a few team fights. What do you do against Rizwan, especially if they're going to be on blue side again, still without counterpick and going this hard?
I mean, I think the answer just has to be like, okay, we have to just take a losing matchup, right? We've tried to get something that should be able to 1v1 this Aatrox, and it didn't work. So we have to go back to the drawing board, recognize, all right, maybe we just we can't stop Rizwan from winning lane. But if we have a frontliner there, if we have a tank and we have really solid DPS at the backline, we could just play front to back and try to counteract Rizwan either split pushing or, winning lane throughout some kind of way. You maybe have a little bit more of an opportunity to see at least team fight wins that aren't like, all right, we won, but we have no health bars.
Yeah, it's funny because Bully, you and I were talking about timing being really important, and I think Rizwan was able to take a big advantage of the mid game, where Iceborn, despite having grabbed 2 dragons early on, were not. Is that something that we've seen actually previously before they even got to this matchup? Their mid game control lacking against other teams.
Their team in general. Okay, so a big thing was early in the season, Iceborn didn't have a lot of their starting players because they were too busy on vacation. But they did turn it around, but they are in everyone's mind in the weaker division while Khan was, facing against some of these tough heavy hitters in their division. They were ended up being a 3rd seed, which this Khan team, they're playing in AML. They were almost undefeated for the season. So we know this team is really good. And now Iceborn felt the pain in game 1. One thing that I want to see Iceborn do in this game is I want them to see come out looking for the objectives, looking for the turrets. It felt like they kept on sacking a lot of their turrets, try to get a small skirmish going, get maybe 1 kill, but then they have to reset off of it. I want them to be able to rotate, get a kill, and also take at least some damage or an objective after that instead of having to run away and giving up a lot more space for the enemy team.
Yeah, I got to agree. And I mean, Dory, this was something that I think Khan had very clearly prepared for, was being able to, as you talked about, maximize what they get out of objectives. Let's just say that Iceborn didn't do that prep for game 1. How can you turn that around in game 2 if you know that there is going to be a team that does have early game plans, early and aggressive game plans towards you?
Yeah, I think stifling that is incredibly important. I think the Ziggs pick is incredibly valuable in establishing that. Having a composition that doesn't possess the most innate sustain unless you're engaging in combat setup is susceptible to poke. So if you're going for this all-in style that Khan is going for, it's perfectly capable of utilizing Ziggs.
Talk about a trade-off, hey, Thousand, because I mean, we're literally talking about how putting your mom's OP on Ziggs kind of feels bad, but also you can get so much value out of the pick, especially
Yeah.
into Khan.
I mean, that's why they took it, right? Like you're
Yeah.
not just taking it to say like, all right, you get Ziggs duty, you're gonna sit back and farm for about 20 minutes and we'll check back in later. You're picking it because it is good and it has potential here. I think if anything else, I would like to see them maybe just play a little bit more towards that bot side and see even with the Zai if they can try to get something there.
All right.
Go for
I
it.
love talking about this game, but we are getting ready for the game 2 draft. So we're gonna kick it back to Shibby, Yanni, and of course all's on production. I'm ready for this game. I hope everyone is too.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Game 2 draft between Khan Esports X and Iceborn Dawn. And Shibby is back with us. And real quick, before we turn it over to Shibby, want to really thank Thousand Eyes for stepping in. Go follow her on Twitter at 1000, like the number Eyes casts. Shibby, we had a pretty interesting game 1 go on between Khan Esports X and Iceborn Dawn, but ultimately Khan Esports X doubled them up in kills and came out on top.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that Iceborn Dawn actually opted in for that red set. Obviously, analysts has talked about it, like the ability to give such a good B1 away. Taking that Orianna, very, very strong from Khan Esports. I actually got to catch a bit of that game here, and I'm very surprised that, kind of the way, I guess, Khan worked their way to a victory, right? Specifically, obviously, off the back of the Ori, and kind of, I was surprised that Iceborn Dawn didn't really get too wacky or crazy during draft as I expect him, because I got to cast him in the quarterfinals, I got to cast him with alls, and they were really busting out some crazy stuff here.
Yep, and it hasn't gotten too crazy yet as we're flying through the picks and bans. Some of your usual suspects getting taken out here. Obviously, the Graves good ban as well as the Lilia into a guy like Vertigo, but he's going to respond with the Viego this time around back into the Maokai.
Yeah, and like you said, Thresh coming in for their second pick here. So a lot of safety with this pick. Doesn't really reveal too much. Potentially you can go for another late game scaling ADC, right? If Iceborn Dawn want to go with that. But Khan, they've got a lot of good picks coming into. Yeah, I would love to see that Kalista, something like a Kalista Alistar, Kalista Rel. Kai'Sa's also available. Xayah was available, but they're going to opt in for the Blitzcrank counter. So now Khan Esports support, he's got to have the mechanics. He's got to have the hands here, because I'm expecting some mid-lantern yanks coming out from this guy.
Yeah, you got to be really, really careful about that as a Thresh into a Blitzcrank. Sometimes the lane can go really well, and sometimes it can go really poorly. I like what Khan Esports is putting together with this early game, because they're putting Wistfully on an early game carry, something that they really, really enjoy playing. And, this pick potential really, really big. What was interesting is that we saw Sivir get hovered, but then they opted into the Ornn on the side of Iceborn Dawn. So Min Savage going to get his prized Ornn. This does mean there's an opportunity for Khan Esports to take away Sivir and force your mom's OP to play something else.
Might be the big brain strategies, right? Hover Sivir and then just maybe force a ban from it.
Sure.
Khan Esports will take it out. I don't necessarily love Sivir in general, right? Even with the composition that Dawn might be preparing for themselves. But please, for the love of God, don't you dare go Ezreal. I hate that champion. We got to see some of it earlier at 66. It's so bad, actually. Like, your buy is, I have 1100 gold. I buy Sheen and a tier, and then I get booty blasted by Caulfield Hammer. That's what happens.
That's so good. Sheen is so good. I disagree with you wholeheartedly, but we are going to see the Ezreal lock in. And now, one thing I will say is I don't like an Ezreal Thresh lane. I just think that they want to do two different things. And until you hit level 6, it's not going to be that impactful. But it is good to avoid the Blitzcrank here. So playing to protect themselves in lane. And, the Iceborn Dawn bot lane is the best bot lane in the league statistically, right? And they certainly looked like it in game 1 despite the loss. So I got confidence that they know what they're doing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll see if my Ezreal prediction pans out or not. But with Con Esports locking in that Syndra after that Orianna ban, not too many mid laners that can really go like toe to toe and win the lane against this champion, right? Orianna, obviously the typical pick, but Con will have to round out their composition here, and they might just all in with this Kled. I would really love to see this. Pretty much a primarily heavy dive composition. You've got Kai'Sa, you've got Kled, you've got Maokai. That's the go forward composition, the press W key. But instead, they're actually going to opt in for the Jace into Ornn, which should be a good matchup for him, at least in the early laning phase. Ornn just eventually outscales, although I don't know if you want to go Victor into this or even Ziggs potentially, because the potential of Maokai Syndra flashing onto you, bursting you out is way too likely.
Yeah, I'm not sure between the two. I actually think I like the Victor more than the Ziggs, but I really like Annie if that's the direction they want to go. This will be providing plenty of CC for this Viego and this Ezreal to cook in fights, and the team compositions are set. Shibby, I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of the Jace pick. Yeah, you know, you've heard me say it over and over again. It just feels like Jace does no damage when you pick him, right? It just feels like, you know, there's a reason why it's called NA Jace. You know, NA Jace is known to miss every single one of their skill shots, deal negative damage, eat hot chip, and lie.
Yeah, I feel like Jace, one of those champions, super susceptible. Just once you gank him once or twice, he kind of becomes irrelevant, like you mentioned. We'll see how much investment Iceborn Dawn actually ends up putting into the top lane, simply because it is an Ornn at the end of the day. Like, you ganking for the Ornn, yeah, you get him a kill. That's kind of nice, but it's not going to, you know, springboard you anywhere too closer to any crazy item spikes. But I think the value might be worth it just to put this Jace down early, right? Just to like get him in a situation where he's sitting on like serrated Dirk and a tier, and he's like 12 minutes into the game and he can't really do anything. That might be the possibility here. For Iceborn Dawn, it feels kind of weird because you're not necessarily going to play towards your top lane. You can't really realistically play towards the Ezreal and Thresh lane. So all of your marbles are pretty much sequestered onto this Annie versus the Syndra, right? And you have to get Annie going so that she can then transfer her power into bot lane, potentially into top lane, maybe facilitate 4v2 dives, right, with Tibbers and Viego. But if you can't get Annie out of this lane or get her ahead so that she can move between the lanes, I feel like, you know, Iceborn Dawn's jungler is kind of just stuck farming.
Yeah, and really the problem with trying to do that against the Syndra is that, you know, Andy's range pretty low. Syndra sees her step forward. She's going to be like, hold on, I need to scatter the weak here. You know, I got to knock him away and then walk away, right? And you're totally safe. You know, obviously we know that Syndra's got no escape, so it's going to take some really good creative, you know, ward removal here from the side of Iceborn Dawn in order for them to actually kind of catch mid too easy by surprise. And if you can't catch mid too easy by surprise, then, as you said, the Viego is just going to be stuck farming, right? And you're going to be stuck playing toward level 6 in a game where these are 3 very threatening lanes and a jungler who brings his own CC to the party.
Yeah, on the flip side, you hinted at it, Con Esports jungler literally can do anything, right? He can go top, he can go mid, he can go bottom lane, and none of those necessarily are the wrong choices here. The game is primarily made pretty easy mode for him. His lane should have priority, at least in the solo lane specifically. You've got a lot of CC setup, right? You mentioned Scatter the Weak. You mentioned, obviously, the Jace as well. He can go into hammer form and follow up on your CC. Obviously, Blitz and Kai'Sa, dive buddies in that essence. And once Kai'Sa's level 6, the moment you CC someone like the Ezreal or the Thresh, they should go down here. It's going to take some creative positioning from Iceborn Dawn's side to make sure that their bot lane isn't susceptible to really ganks, right? Thresh plays behind the Ezreal in the lane. Maybe Ezreal can arcane shift to a spot where Thresh can lantern. Like, that's the kind of mechanical prowess you need to pilot this lane so that Con Esports doesn't just get a free win across the board here. And I think with this composition that Iceborn Dawn has shown, they're succeeding a lot of objective control too, right? Like bottom lane, top lane, you're not really going to get a lot. It really hinges on this mid 2v2 and whether they can get going or not.
Well, Con Esports X certainly had to work for that win in game 1, and without a Bard this time around, we'll see how often they're making mistakes, maybe clean up some of their play, and if they'll blow away Iceborn Dawn, or if Iceborn Dawn, with their new composition, is going to come up big once they hit level 6 and get into the team fights, as we do get into the spectator lay ourselves, which means we're taking a very short break. And when we return, we'll give you the Game 2 match between Con Esports X and Iceborn Dawn here at the Blue Otter League Masters Finals. Welcome back, Otters. We're on the rift for Game 2 between Con Esports X and Iceborn Dawn. And before this Thresh team goes ahead and invades against the Blitzcrank team, want to shout out Coachify.gg, one of our sponsors, a new platform for esports coaches with 0 commissions. Sign up is free and anybody can create a public profile. I should also have time to shout out Glitch Energy. Use special code Blue Otter for a discount at purchase and pick up your Glitch Energy drink mix today. Shibby, I thought we were going to have an invade. I really didn't think I was going to have enough time for that.
No, I mean you made the right call doing our ad read, because none of these teams
Thank you.
have the cojones to invade. Especially the Blitzcrank team. I was like definitely certain. Even if they know that you want to go, you still gotta go. You know what I mean? Like you have to threaten that invade and make them kind of be a little bit cognizant of like, oh, if they pick this again, they might invade. I don't know. Maybe they're going for the game 5 mind games like you mentioned, but 5-point defense across the board. Both of these junglers are going to have hidden starts and also mirrored starts is what it looks like. Viego starting on his Raptors and Maokai starting on his blue buff, although none of these lanes are leashing. So the interesting thing to note is that none of these lanes know where the other enemy jungler is starting, right? So it's really, really scary if you're playing something like an Annie or if you're playing in the bot lane here and you have no clue what buff the jungler started. So you have to play safe, you know, pretty much the entire laning phase up until like 4 minutes.
Yeah, and that was something that heavily impacted our last game, right? They knew that Vertigo started on the top side, and then he decided to sneakily go and get the second chicken camp on the blue side, right? And then because Kiwi and Wistfully had an advantage, They invaded him on the bot side. Absar killed him and then went and took his top side. So this time around, Vertigo, I'm sure, is very, very happy that that situation has not occurred yet, because he's just going to go for a clear on the top side. Meanwhile, Absar making his way down to the bottom.
Yeah, Wistfully lost cleanse in the middle of that when you were kind of recapping what happened in the bottom lane. Like, he got hooked by Thresh level 1 and insta-cleansed it pretty much. So he's not going to have that for a little bit here, although he's going for the Halo Blades Kaisa. I know you're a big fan of the Umbral Glaive build. I know you love that, and I've been a very staunch hater of it. I'm like, it doesn't really scale well.
Why do you hate it? I know you said it's the scaling, right?
It is the scaling for me. It's the scaling for me, I think, as well as like it's when you hit that like 25, 26 minute mark and like you expect the Kaisa to like hit you super hard. And I'm not saying they don't even at that point, but it's like, especially going into the Ezreal, as Mint Savage is going to go on to Rizwan potentially. Never mind, he's doing good. It's just the fact that also you're going into an Ezreal who's like main thing is to scale into mid game, right? Like, he hits Triforce, he gets Cyrildas, he gets the Manamune, and like he's a complete champion. He's gonna start chunking your health bar. And it's like, well, if you're going into that with like an Umbral Glaive, what is potentially like, some of them go AP variant, they go like Nashor's Tooth, others go like Kraken Slayer. I don't know, that 3-item power spike with Umbral Glaive just feels like it doesn't hit as hard, especially when you're going into like Thresh Ornn. Like, you don't do any damage to Ornn straight up.
No, you're correct about that. You are absolutely right. The thing is, though, it's your level 2, your 2-item power spike, I should say. I think that's really big, is we're going to see something break out on the bot lane. Chillwell kills in a little bit of trouble. Good hook landed by Mr. Kiwiism. First blood to Wistfully. Now let's see if Vertigo and your mom's OP can do some more. Absar is coming around finally. Good flash from Kiwiism, and they're not able to take him down. It's 2 kills for Wistfully.
Yeah, you can kind of throw all what I said out the window. If you give the Kaisa 2 kills super early, he's gonna come back.
Cookie.
Yeah, exactly. If you give the Kaisa a cookie, she's gonna come back with an Umbral Glaive. She's gonna come back into this laning phase with double buffs and serrated Dirk, potentially more here. Like, this just became a really rough lane for the Ezreal and Thresh, even though already in the beginning it was kind of bad. Yeah, look, she's coming back with serrated and another longsword. There is no way in hell this Ezreal and Thresh can ever trade. Like,
Dude,
it's impossible now.
Like, I'm so shocked that, you know, your mom's OP, Chill Will Kills. We talked about it. #1 bot lane in the league. I'm going to keep harping on it. And they go and they allow Wistfully to get their early game AD carry. And they're like, well, we're not going to match that, right? And then it's like, well, if we're not going to match that, we're going to play really, really defensive by picking Ezreal here, right? And yet they got over aggressive and they paid dearly for it.
Yeah, it's also the idea that you're picking Thresh. Ooh, okay, Kiwi.
Nice attempt there, but the stun goes down on mid too easy, and they turn it around on them, but mid too easy, not able to close out on the kill on Fui. So Iceborn Dawn, they get one back.
Yeah, that's on to Fui as well, who in the later stages of the game, right, come 18, 22 minutes, Annie's just going to be hiding in bushes, waiting for Wistfully, waiting for mid too easy to kind of face check them, even Rizwan to some extent, and she's just going to burst them out with Tibbers here. So that's a little nice, kill going over. Let's see if your mom's OP can. Oh, okay, went for the predict. All right, I respect that, Kiwi. I respect that a lot.
It's kind of crazy because if he just aimed the hook where Ezreal was, I think he actually would have hit him. I don't think that was that great of a shift, but I don't know if it was a predict, or, how deep in the weeds are we actually going, Shibby. So we're going to see Call the Forge God get burnt in the top side. Rizwan, very low on HP. Looks like
Vertigo's
Savage
here.
waiting for Vertigo to show up. Vertigo, no flash available, but this should be a very easy pickup for them.
Very good job. Mint Savage
Start clapping.
could have. Hell yeah, I'm a jungler, dude. I want that kill if I'm looking at it. Like, that could have been Mint Savage potentially taking that kill, waiting for Vertigo to come and take that. That just gives you a better win condition. Now the dive will begin.
Yeah, they're going to counter on the bottom here. Absar is going to be the one to tank it up, but look at all the damage that Wistfully does. That Absar will die on the backside as your mom's OP, the lone survivor, but now mid too easy has joined the party. Scatter the weak, Ignite burning him away. One last auto attack with the flash as well as mid too easy gets it, but now Fui a little late to the show, but ready to go. Drops the Tibbers, forcing the flash out of Syndra.
Yeah, Syndra got first move there, was able to follow up onto that dive. They redove that bot lane, and a clean 2-for-1. The moment they saw Vertigo in the top lane, the call for that dive came in. Absol and the rest of the crew making Iceborn Dawn's bot lane's life a living hell here. As Vertigo's trying to get something out. I wonder if he can actually be able to get it. Nope. He's going to get Q-smited away. Absol doesn't even lose too much for that.
Damn, feel bad for Vertigo because game 1 he had to deal with Abzar taking all of his jungle camps, and now he's like, oh, don't, I'm gonna get you, and Abzar's like, please, this is mine, you go back to your jungle, be lucky I didn't invade you this game. Because right now things tilting toward Con Esports X, mostly because of this Kai'Sa in the bot lane. And speaking of Abzar, I said, you know what, in fact I am gonna show up into your jungle, but Vertigo able to secure his red buff.
Yeah, he's level 6 as well. Because of all the ganking that's been happening and little minor camp lead that Vertigo has, I don't know if Abzar actually wants this fight, but he's posturing like he does. I think he took one little baby chicken. He got a wing there. Not the whole bucket, but he got a wing.
Yeah. Unlucky. Not even a wing, dude. Just a nugget, to be quite honest with you. It's, like, let's be real. Those are chicken nuggets. They give you 8 gold a piece. You're not overly happy with that play. You saw some of the roaming come out, and you did mention that because of all these plays happening, Vertigo is level 6 and has opportunity to make a play. Holy crap! Mr. Kiwiism with such a sick flash. The Ezreal coming through. Wistfully wants a little bit more, but gets backed off. He does have the ultimate available, but they know that Vertigo is on the way here. Wistfully burning the flash preemptively there. That is the scary, scary power of a Viego.
I just see Kiwi flash and wait there for a little bit. He hit him with the YY, no fakey, Modern Warfare 2 Rust clip. He just like stalled over the wall for a bit and then ran at them. Unfortunately, like you said,
no scope him.
Yeah, off the top of Rust. Literally, that's what happened. As Abzar, they saw Vertigo coming down into that bot lane. They burned the flash, so they're going to trade objective for objective here. This is the first dragon going down, and honestly, I like this trade, specifically for Abzar's team, or in this case, Con Esports. The Rift Herald is going to provide so much gold to players like the Kai'Sa, like the Syndra, wherever they plan on using, and I think going for that early trade and injecting more gold into some of your Fed members here could prove wonders for that mid game. As Mint Savage is just gonna clap Rizwan in the top lane.
That was savage, bro. Like, listen, no pun intended. That is definitely C9 Mint Savage. I agree with your assessment there of the Rift Heralds. As we saw in game 1, you did not see, but Tess and I did see that Iceborn Dawn were able to pick up the first 2 dragons, but they did it forsake the Rift Heralds. Is Vertigo gonna go really deep for this one. He took a couple of tower shots, but we dropping timbers, everything's gonna be okay. He takes another tower shot. Wait a minute, what happened? Mid 2 easy goes down, and now Mr. Kiwiism is here to try to help out Abzar, wistfully flying in and picking up kill number 4. The hook lands, but there's gonna be no further follow-up. Shibby, what the hell happened?
Unfortunately, Vertigo ended up taking the Syndra body to try to dodge the Maokai R, but it was too late. Ended up eating 2 shots there and just dies immediately. So what was a good play as Kiwi locks him in, and oh my god, that Umbral Glaive burst!
Yeah, it's another one, bro. You listen, I told you, put some respect on the Umbral Glaive. It's going to be kill gold. Another extra plate worth of gold after the Rift Herald charge on top of it. Take a look. It's a 1,700 gold lead in just the 80 carries right now, Shibby. It's time for Wistfully to take over. They're going to get Evolved Q very soon.
I mean, you can look at the gold up top. That is a majority of the gold lead. It's just on Wistfully right now. The other lanes are doing pretty decent, right? Fui having a worse time than mid 2 easy, but obviously Mint Savage on the Ornn being able to keep Rizwan down. And that is the saving grace here, is that one of the members on Con Esports' team, Rizwan, is far behind. He's 12 minutes in. He's sitting on a Dirk and a tier, like I mentioned. If you put a champion like this behind like that, right? If you put a champion behind like that, they won't be able to join some of these mid-game team fights. So I think that is their saving grace at the moment, but it is really rough because if you can't lock somebody like Wistfully down, especially who now has the cleanse as well as their summoner spell, it's rough, right? You theoretically, you drop the adding stun on them and you can burst them down with Vertigo and Ezreal, but that's just not going to happen. Wistfully playing a magnificent game right now, and Hook almost lands here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a wild one. Vertigo waiting in the wings here. Shift forward, Hook. They throw everything that they can at Mr. Kiwiism, but just a little too slippery with that speed boost on Blitzcrank. And I like the attempt there, but there's a lot of time for Abzar to just chill out, pick up Scuttle Crab, and maybe head even into the top side jungle and prepare for a counter gank.
This is so scary. Fufu has to play like further back as Vertigo just misting here just to provide some pressure, relieve some onto Fufu here because mid too easy. He hits another stun or anything like that. I'm sorry, will gank is now. They're going to play for these Raptors. Mid too easy does have the push. Fufu can't follow.
Yeah, they got to be very careful because Fui is low on HP and mid too easy is posturing as if Fui was going to come around through mid here. Absolar and Vertigo still going at it, and Vertigo will be able to secure his chickens, but it has not been an easy time in his own jungle. It's been very, very difficult, very mentally taxing, I'm sure.
It's not fun for sure when you're trying to get your own camps and there's a Maokai and a Syndra breathing down your neck, waiting for you to misstep here. Saving graces that Mint Savage once again winning that topside matchup, potentially can garner an XP lead. And as the game goes on, everybody knows what's on that side for Iceborn Dawn, right? The ornaments coming in. That's going to alleviate some of this gold lead that Con Esports has for themselves. They're kind of on a timer, in my opinion, although Syndra very, very good late game scaling mage. Jace just won't be able to hit that power spike in time, right? He's already super far behind. Kaisa as well with this Umbral Glaive build will fall behind the Ezreal, given if they're farming in the same as now the hook lands.
Oh my god, Mr. Kiwiism. Who gave this guy Blitzcrank? Clearly, they did not do their homework as Con Esports X is running Iceborn Dawn all over the Rift right now. 007 like he's James Bond.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, really crazy roaming from him. I got to see what he did last game, and he was going a bit crazy there. And on the Blitzcrank, once again, just doing work. And, I mean, like I said, they're on a timer, Con Esports X, but right now they are putting pedal to the metal. They are pushing the game pace in an uncomfortable position for Iceborn Dawn. You look across the item list, right? You've got 2 mythics. Kaisa's on 2 items fully. You've got Leandri's on the Syndra. Yeah, that's the Q upgrade. Ezreal's sitting on a Triforce and a tier, and he just picked up Leandri's, and Vertigo doesn't even have his mythic available. There's nothing this team can do to contest Con Esports on any of these objectives. It is really, really hard as he just now picks up the Triforce. He's still behind. It feels as a whole Iceborn Dawn have to take some opportunistic fights, or maybe Mint Savage can get a nice call to Forge God. They can fight off of that, but it is really rough.
Yeah, and I like this because he's not too tanky yet. He's going to go unstoppable. The hook's not going to land anyway, but he did mention that Kaisa was going to have some trouble dealing some damage to the Ornn, and it tickled him for sure with that Q.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn just gotta be the tank that he really is. As Vertigo is gonna pick up this dragon relatively for free. I guess, you know, Con Esports, they're more content on giving this one away and stacking whatever Dragon Soul comes their way. They wanted to go for that top play, potentially, you know, keep Mint Savage a little bit honest, as Mountain Dragon is going to go over to the favor of Iceborn Dawn here, and we're going to get an Ocean Soul for this match here, and that's really good. I mean, if you can stack, same as game 1 as well, and you can stack that if you are Con Esports side. It's now called the Forge God because come in.
Here we go. They're going to get on top of Wistfully. Burn the cleanse immediately, but has to try to make some moves on the backside. Mr. Kiwiism goes down. Give credit to Thresh. Wistfully is low, but wants to try to find a way back in. Easy, cutting them off the pass, able to take down the Annie, and now goes after Chill Will kills. Teleport was interrupted. Not quite sure what ended up happening there, but we're going to see Vertigo show up to the party. Mint Savage is here, right? He's here, maybe able to do something. Rizwan taking a heck of a lot of damage. It looks like they will finally
Vertigo wants to go in.
Yeah, he really wants a piece of this, and gets knocked back. He has that ultimate available, wants to kill Wistfully and just can't.
I was hoping he was going to at least try to use his mist to get the move speed and maybe flash execute over, right? Onto something like the Kaista. There were opportunities for Vertigo to go crazy. He took the more safer route, wanted to get the flash stun going so he can guarantee the kill. Yeah, really well played from mid to easy on there. Got the scat of the week, pretty much double stun onto Chill Will and Fui after Fui takes the lantern. With all that transpiring, yes, Ezreal does get some solo gold here. Kiwi, though, might be caught in a rock in a hard place.
Yeah, he gets stunned up for about a year, but Wistfully immediately coming back and taking Vertigo down to half HP with just a Q.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's that Umbral Glaive Kaisa build. And I think we're going to see Wistfully trend towards that Nashor suit. That is a standard progression. You go the Duskblade, Umbral Glaive, then you get the Nashors. You get all, I believe, all the upgrades off of that. And then you're just kind of like this running, gunning, diving machine that if anybody goes low, you can pretty much burst them out along with your passive. Now, second Rift Herald does get started here, and Iceborn Dawn, unfortunately, guys, you are not in any position to contest this. Don't be like me. Don't just watch it go down.
Yeah, you mentioned anybody, and Zanny got taken very, very low. See all the damage from Mid 2 Easy, right? Mid 2 Easy also has quietly gotten 5 kills. We've been talking a lot about Wistfully, but you know, Mid 2 Easy has been the benefactor of every single fight right now. And listen, when you've got 10 kills at 17 minutes, 5 of them are on your mid laner, 5 of them are on your AD carry. Shibby, that's a jungler's dream when you're playing a champion like Maokai.
Exactly. Playing the facilitator, getting all the right kills onto all the right targets. I mean, this is Con Esports' game to lose, right? Like, they have the lead, they have everything. They have to, like, throw extremely. As now, Mid 2 Easy might just die here. Ooh, is just going to walk it out.
Yeah, right.
The ice in his veins to hold the flash against Fui Fui is insane.
Oh, they want to get a kill because they have their ultimate available. They have that extra ball. They're ready to
Fui Fui.
stun up Fui Fui here. Fui Fui's got to be dead. And it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Oh!
It's a shutdown going over to Fui Fui. Got a little too cocky, but looking to clean this one up as Absol, and Fui Fui has realized, I think I'm dead.
Oh my lord! Fui Fui tanking balls to the face like Riley Reid gets the kill onto Mid 2 Easy.
Hey, yo! Oh my, I swear to God, why? You do this every time.
What? It was an apt description. Mid 2 Easy does go down, but Fui Fui gets killed
You can't
afterwards.
say that because of the champion that they call, man.
I definitely can.
All right. It's cresting to the 19-minute mark here. 3,500 gold lead for the side of Con Esports X, and that was a really big play there by Fui Fui. They cashed in on a lot of gold. Major bag alert, right? As they're heading toward their second item right now, and it looks like, you know, they could be heading toward that Shadow Flame, much like Mid 2 Easy, who has finished that one up as well. So, you know, picks have been the name of the game so far for Con Esports X, and it looks like with the last like fight or two, they've kind of gotten away from it. But if they can continue to make that happen and use the strength that they have, they'll get very far ahead in this game.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think the saving grace is the gold hasn't really budged from around that like 3,000 to 4,000 lead. It was anywhere between that pretty much the whole time. And we do have Ornn kind of leveling up as they go. They'll eventually start getting some ornaments in here. Like, it's not the wrong thing to say that Iceborn Dawn, they can team fight given the right conditions, right? They've got a pretty damn good comp to scrap you 5v5. It's just going to be on Min Savages. Never mind, Vertigo gets just yanked over the wall.
They take so much damage. They're not quite getting these kills, but look from the side. Min Savage, Call the Forge God, get a land on only one member, but look at all the damage that's going in. Rizwan has damage. Here's Mid 2 Easy to join the fight. The Scout of the Week's gonna go crazy. It hits 3 people. Even though Absar is dead, it's a 1-for-1 for right now, but they have plenty of strength to keep going. The health bars are very low on Iceborn Dawn. The flash onto Fui Fui. Down you go. Chill Will Kills is now in a lot of trouble.
Wait,
They're going to fall too. Wistfully, no mana left in the tank, but they got auto attacks. Do they have enough? They do force the flash on Min Savage, but a convincing fight win for Con Esports X.
Vertigo went finger painting that fight. Like, literally, he just ran all the way around the river, like that canyon, that rock there, when his team was running away. I thought he was, like, going for maybe a flank or doing something. He was setting up for potentially an execute or an ultimate execute. He just kind of ran and dipped out while the rest of his team died here. I thought there was an opportunity for Vertigo to maybe go crazy here, but yeah, that prolonged fight, Con Esports X, they take that, and that was just off the back of Mid 2 Easy coming in, hitting a massive scatter of the week. Like you said, 3 people, and the rest of the damage is there with the follow-up. Kaisa and Rizwan, even though he's down 1 to 2, if he can get those shock blasts onto the squishy targets like Fui Fui, like your mom's OP, even Vertigo to some extent, they're pretty much dead to rights here. You saw Vertigo's health go from full to half in a matter of seconds.
Very glad you had a clean description of what Vertigo was doing, because I had no idea, and I thought you were going to say something out of pocket again. But right now, speaking of out of pocket, they said, hey, you know what? We'll give up Soul Point here because we'll just go ahead and take the Baron because Wistfully is going to go shred this. Now mid 2 easy is here too. So it's going to be a pretty simple objective trade here at around the 22-minute mark. And I got to say, I think this favors Con Esports X pretty heavily.
Yeah, they've busted the gold lead open, right? I mean, it was already at 3,000 to 4,000 for a little bit, and now it's at 6,000 for Con Esports. Yeah, I feel like you're patiently waiting for something else here. You're hesitantly scared.
I am.
Don't worry.
I'm so frightened. I was ready for Bully to hop in here and be like, okay, that's it. You're done. You're getting fired on the finals, the finals of Masters here. But so we are expecting Con Esports X to really shove this in. Wistfully taking a lot of damage is going to cause some problems here. But remember, Rizwan, we haven't seen the Jace do a whole lot. A lot of poke potential here. Is there going to be a double knock-up landing? And now they're going to go in onto the Maokai. Meanwhile, on the side, mid 2 easy manages to get a kill. Absar is going to fall, but mid 2 easy trying to flank on the backside. Vertigo is able to get a big shutdown here and potential for resets. Kiwi doesn't have anywhere else to go and ends up being a 3rd kill for Vertigo. And the Baron has been wiped off of Con Esports X. And now all of a sudden it favors Iceborn Dawn because they're on Soul Point.
Yeah, that's that nightmare scenario that you get anytime there's a Viego on the team. Once the reset starts happening, you practically lose the fight as Vertigo potentially looking for something more. Just trying to zone off mid 2 easy. Your mom's OP with the aggressive arcane shift.
Yeah, but he doesn't get punished for it. And Con Esports X, and more specifically mid 2 easy, getting punished for trying to flank around in that fight, right? He was able to take out Fui, but couldn't join the rest of the team in that prior fight as one of your super strong members. And, you know, we see sometimes that a Viego can really get behind. I mean, we saw that when we casted 66 this past weekend, but then they get a couple of kills and all of a sudden they snowball into the game. And now you're staring at a 5-2 Viego who's on 2 items, who has stopwatch. He's going to be a menace in this next fight.
Yeah, I want to see, you know, they've been pretty much focusing Absar in a lot of these fights, and unfortunately he didn't go the super tanky build that we typically see, right? He went for more of that, I'm kind of fed, I've got some gold, let me build demonic here, and that makes him just a little less tanky and allows him to burst it out, specifically from Fui as well. As there's a lot of magic pen, or magic damage, sorry, I should say, on Iceborn Dawn's side here. And so if you focus Absar down before he's got any real MR, he's just picked up that Negatron cloak, you can get Vertigo going. And you saw what happened in the mid lane. Once he took over Absar's body, you forget he's also really damn tanky as the Maokai. And so you have a tanky, you know, spirit-possessed Viego Maokai coming at you. It's really hard to win the fight after that. So if Absar keeps going down consistently at first in these fights, Vertigo has the opportunity to pop off and just keep the snowballing going for himself.
You saw for a second there, Wistfully now down a flash thanks to Min Savage. That means that flash will not be available for this critical dragon fight. There's a great way to completely take Rizwan out of the game. It's by taking this dragon, and you see they're just trying to do damage to Min Savage, and they can't, right? He's down to about 66% HP, we'll call it. They're going to start banging down on this bottom inner turret. They will be able to take it down, but once again, not able to do anything to this Ornn. And Shibby, what you have said has come to pass. Wistfully doesn't deal any damage to those tanks, I mean, specifically.
Yeah, and if Mint Savage is constantly frontlining like we see, as your mom's OP is going to go for this turret. Is he just going to try to get it? Oh, okay.
Scout of the week not quite hitting there.
That's really nice from your mom, though, right? Specifically, taking out the TP from the Syndra. Now you've got TP advantage for both Mint Savage or Fui, depending on who decides to split push here. They can set this dragon up really well, right? You have Fui, you have Ornn pushing, and you have to force Rizwan to match you because Syndra does not have TP. So you can go arguably for a 1-3-1 prior to the dragon, force them to go into these solo lanes, and then work your way towards the dragon here. But it looks like Con, with this gold lead, with the power that they've invested into trading all these dragons, they have all this gold, they're just going to muscle them out as Chillwill is going to get hooked.
He's going to force the flash too, but he gets blown up immediately, and Rizwan is able to get that kill. Iceborn Dawn, they couldn't force Rizwan to match somebody in a side lane because their waves are not that great right now, and that would have been pretty huge, but now they've caught out Wistfully. He's going to burn the cliff. He's going to die to Mint Savage, and now Absar is alone with 3 members, but Annie gets pulled in and gets blown up. Mid too easy, able to get that kill. Look at Rizwan on the side. He gets a big shutdown onto this Viego. potentially looking for more, but your mom's OP does a heck of a lot of damage, and he's going to be able to take down Absol. A lapse in judgment there from the Khan Esports jungler.
They should be beelining it towards this dragon potentially, right? Making sure that they've got first move on it. They've got first position. Ezreal is going to try to heal off of this wave as much as possible. Kiwi, though, with Rizwan. Ooh. Oh, that hook could have changed the outcome of this dragon fight completely. Half health bars on everybody. Yeah, nobody on Khan Esports side can go. It has to be Jace. There's no TP on Syndra, by the way. So she has to stay with half health. This is looking very rough.
Yeah, they're just giving this away here by sitting around and not backing when they had an opportunity to. Here comes Fui, Mr. Kiwi.
There's Vertigo.
Half HP, mid too easy, half HP. Good stun onto Fui, but no poke coming out yet.
Oh!
Vertigo is on his way. Mid too easy is even lower, but Wistfully is here. And now the jungler Absol is working his way down. But it's going to be Vertigo who gets here first.
Vertigo.
This is going to be the game-deciding fight. Vertigo is going to go forward. They're going to try to blow him up. He's super low. He can't kill Kiwi, but Kiwi does go down. Fui getting credit for that. Vertigo, very low. Min Savage, very low, but he has teleport available if he wants to go in. Absol, and so much damage coming out from the side. Your mom's OP got caught, but the Drake got taken away. It's secured for Khan Esports X, and it's going to be a quarter kill for the Kaisa. They come up clutch.
You had numbers advantage the whole time. Wistfully's able to come back in. The damage that was output by mid too easy before going down lets Kaisa R into the backline. Kills both Mint Savage and Vertigo. Gets the double kill off the spikes and then is able to turn onto the Dragoneer. Iceborn Dawn, as easily as they were given that dragon, they throw it up in the air and Wistfully slam dunks it on them.
And the sun may be setting on Iceborn Dawn. 28 minutes into the game, a huge fight win for Khan Esports X. They've cracked open an 8,000 gold lead. They've taken down the mid inhibitor, and this Baron is on the map next.
Yeah, it looked so good. You have to believe that if Iceborn Dawn would have gotten that dragon, would have gotten the Ocean Soul, it would have given them some more fighting power into some of these fights, would have allowed them to heal up and take these more longer, drawn-out engages. It would have been damn good for the Ornn, who's already impossible to kill, to have an Ocean Soul on his back as well. That is rough, and that plunges Iceborn Dawn into an even further gold deficit here. Wistfully also nearing 5-item completion with that Quadra. They're just going to rip this Baron, and there's nothing Iceborn Dawn can do about it.
By the way, that's a Shadow Flame on Wistfully. Teleport coming in from the Ornn. Mr. Kiwi is going to link up with the rest of the team. Jace, a little disconnected with them here. Your mom's OP in the area, though. So the team's jockey for position, and that poke going to be massive here as it's going to be between Ezreal and the Kaisa. Ezreal going down.
Oh, Chill Will.
Comes the big ultimate. Chill Will caught off on the side. Who's getting rooted up? It's two big members. Vertigo trying to do what he can. He takes out Mr. Kiwi. Meanwhile, Mid Savage drawing the ire of many people. Absol is going to go down.
Watch Vertigo.
Vertigo unchecked in this fight. He does get stunned by Scatter of the Weak, but he can't really proceed any further. The only problem is Khan Esports, they're on the wrong side of the map right now. They're going to try to turn forward. Fui still has a stun available. Your mom's OP, low. Mint Savage, low. Mid too easy, flash, Scatter of the Weak, and they take out Fui. And on the side, Mint Savage, completely alone, can only dash forward. Wistfully getting the kill there, and there's minions in the mid lane. They may look to end Chibi.
Oh, there's two people backing right now. Your mom's OP and Vertigo on the base defense. I don't think they're enough, though. The Syndra plus Kaisa combo, they burst them out way too easily. Thresh is up as well. It's a 3v4, although Blitzcrank took it back, so now it's a 3v3 under the base.
Yeah, look at all the damage, but they're not protecting your mom's OP. Vertigo's got to get in there and try to do something, and now Wistfully and Mid Too Easy are there. They did manage to take out the Ezreal. Chill Will kills, very low. Rizwan gets a double kill there. Big shield on Wistfully, big shield on Vertigo, and Vertigo gets a shutdown. The Jace died too, and now Vertigo looking to take out Mid Too Easy, but can they keep themselves alive? Vertigo pushing forward, trying to take him down. He's got to dodge. He can't dodge. He goes down. Vertigo saves the game, but Kiwi is here. Kiwi could hook him. Vertigo ignited, but still alive. The base in tatters, but they're still in it. Iceborn Dawn.
Oh, I don't know why Mr. Kiwi took the back there. They would have had a 4v3 under the Nexus turrets. If you land a hook onto Vertigo or even your mom's OP, you pretty much end the game there. Mind-boggling decision-making from both of these teams, but with the gold lead that Khan Esports has amassed themselves, they are allowing themselves to have a little bit more comfort room in these mistakes. Iceborn Dawn just picking at the feet right now. They can't really do much, right? They're so far down in gold. They haven't even really gotten a proper team fight. As now, Call of the Forge God goes in.
Yeah, they're looking to pick Absar, and they at least get his ultimate out for now. Kiwi ready to hook somebody over the wall if necessary. Absar will be able to get out of there. He hooks the Viego, but wait,
I don't know if
Kiwi
he wanted that.
taking a lot of damage. Vertigo, though, down to half HP. Rizwan joining the fight. Fui takes
Fui.
a lot of damage. Here comes Wistfully. Teleport coming in from the Syndra. They're on the wrong side of the tracks, but as long as they can cook, they'll be okay. They catch Wistfully, but Wistfully's still alive. Finally goes down to Vertigo, who takes the body like a
They got
skin.
the hook!
Is very low, but goes down. Give the shutdown to Rizwan, and now your mom's OP is the target as Chillwell has been forced off, and it's going to be Absar versus your mom's OP. Rizwan versus Mint Savage. Mr. Kiwi and Mint Too Easy beat up on Chillwell kills. Your mom's OP gets a kill on the backside, but he's the only one left alive, and there are 3 very angry members of the side of Con Esports X looking to win this game. Here comes the teleport. So well timed! Oh, 2-shot barrage lands flush, and they take out the Jace, but Mid Too Easy, half HP. Mr. Kiwi is out of mana. Your mom's OP is gonna have to make a miracle happen. Turret less than half HP. He doesn't have
Wufui's
the
up in
ultimate.
5!
There's super minions bearing down. They're on to the Nexus now. He's got to get through. He can't do anything, but Fui is here with the home guards, and that means Syndra and Blitzcrank got a split.
Rizwan with the TP into death. True combo. Nice snipe from your mom's OP. Another true shot barrage comes out, and he's been money with these right now. He might have just saved the game here. If Con Esports end up losing this, you gotta look back to that Rizwan TP and be scratching your head. Iceborn Dawn with that stall, live to fight another day. They've also got all 5 members for this dragon. Rizwan no TP, as on death timer, it's a 4v5.
They're going to end the game, Shibby. They're running up mid lane. Absar, can he make a steal happen? He won't, but he's just trying to buy time. No, the inhibitor respawn, they pull off. They just let him have the dragon for free. It's soul secured for Iceborn Dawn.
Ornaments are coming in. The soul is secured for Iceborn Dawn. This gold lead, this 6,000, deceptive as hell. It is not looking like that right now. It's probably majority, maybe a 2,000 gold lead. These teams are fighting neck and neck. Mint Savage is unkillable, and despite Mid Too Easy and Wistfully's best efforts, Rizwan and the rest of the gang are not able to close this game out.
Let's see if we can pull up the items here, because I don't think there's any heal cut. Shibby, do you see any heal cut? I don't see any heal cut.
None at all here, and it might be a little too late to get it. Ocean Soul coming in, like you said, and this could be the ever-tantalizing Baron flip. They're just gonna let it rip here. Fui coming back from base, does have TP available. How do you walk into this? What is your play, Iceborn Dawn? Do you turn?
Oh, Vertigo is forced to use his ult to get out, and now Mint Savage has no flash. He can't get out of there, and they take him down. Rizwan, give him credit for the kill, but they're looking to take out Absar. He's going to flash away and drop the roots. It's going to root up everybody, and they're going to catch Chillwell kills, and they're going to take him down, and Fui just holding the tippers. Can't get it done. They're going to burn the Sterix of Vertigo, and Kiwi looking to get the game-winning pick. They catch Fui. They pop the GA of Vertigo, and I think that's all she wrote, Chippy. Vertigo's going to go down. Your mom's OP, the last one standing in Mid Too Easy, is about to come from behind to take him out. It's going to be an ace for Wistfully and a very anticlimactic end, but as we accepted, Con Esports X on match point.
Oh my god, after a back and forth throw fiesta from both of these teams, Con Esports X ends up closing the game out. But that was just a mind-boggling Baron for Iceborn Dawn, right? Like, they let it rip. They didn't feel like they had any intention. They didn't know if they wanted to turn, if they wanted to burn it. Fui was coming back from base. I think the call there was just to maybe turn or bait Baron specifically, but the fact that they felt desperation there after they won such a big team fight for that Ocean Soul in their back pocket, you have to think that you can wait a little bit and wait for the perfect team fight. These Call of the Forge Gods from Mint Savage were absolutely perfect. There's a real world where if Iceborn Dawn doesn't start that Baron, doesn't throw around there, they may end up with the win here, but they sealed their fates in Con Esports. They go up 2-0.
Simply put, Shibby, I don't think they timed the Syndra teleport, right? Because it was still on cooldown. As Syndra was not there. They didn't pull the trigger on a 5v4 opportunity when they had it. They instead wanted to go to the Baron, and You live by the Baron, you die by the Baron, and the Baron throws are strong with this one, as the BOL knows all about Baron throws. And the teams are, I mean, at least Iceborn Dawn has to go back and think, what if? But they have to get their minds right for game 3 because they are facing elimination. Con Esports X hunting for the trophy. Iceborn Dawn looking to just stay alive. We're going to take a very short break. When we return, we'll see you to the analyst desk. We'll see you soon.
All right. All
How was
right.
the game?
That was an eventful game too, and that might have been like a TL Gam series. I was kidding, but
So, Bully, I think you have the unenviable job of telling us where we start talking.
well,
And-
where we start talking is at the beginning of the game and talk for 3 hours about the entire game that lasted about 35 minutes. But I'm gonna take it out first. This felt like a little bit better of a game than we saw in game 1 from Iceborn. But then again, we saw the same thing happen where it felt like there's a different class of supports in the bot lane where Kiwiism was all over the map. That was nice. What do you think about that one?
I mean, it was a Kiwiism getting all over the map, but also just all of Con getting all over the map, right? Like we saw them rotate around. On top of that, we also just saw the dominance between a Blitzcrank versus a Thresh matchup. Thresh wins a lot of matchups just because he can do so much early on, and he has damage to bring it up as well. But the Blitzcrank hooks are just so much more powerful, and we saw that time and time again as Kiwiism was getting really good early hooks to snowball this Kai'Sa out of control. I believe 6-1 at some point pretty early in the game. And there's just so much damage on the Kai'Sa at that point that it's really hard to find some place to work from.
Kiwiism was doing some really dirty things on Blitzcrank. I think we can all agree. Dory, outside of the Blitzcrank, however, Thousand Eyes has touched on Kai'Sa as being a really pivotal pick. Where else did you see a lot of work being done from individuals on Con?
I mean, I think... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, my bad.
No, it was for you.
We were talking a lot during the game about the synergy between the Syndra and Blitzcrank here. Blitzcrank basically, Kiwiism's kind of proven repeatedly so far this series that he's capable of understanding when he's allowed to leave the lane and when he's not, because a lot of these plays that are happening onto the Annie, onto this champion that like should have the range to farm safely, she's just consistently able to get picked out from under her tower and placed in a position where she has to play an uncomfortable game. Every CS seems contested, and I do think that the mid lane pressure, I think mid is playing fantastic this series so far.
I mean, it's been a joy to watch, and looking at the top lane, Thousand Eyes, I felt like this was a totally different look from top lane because we didn't see any pop-offs. There have been some adaptations from Iceborn Dawn, and I want to give you a chance to talk about how that relates to what was happening up
Yeah,
north.
I mean, absolutely. We saw Mid Savage finally have a little bit of presence in lane, right? And it was on the tank. It was on the Ord. I said it like while we were watching. I was like, do not let this man play Yode again. The Ord is good. The Ord was great. It stomped the Jace pretty hard in lane. And then when you got that little bit of pressure on the top side, we got some kills out of it. And having that front line for Iceborn was huge. The fact that they could at least have a front to back fight, we saw multiple times. The Ord being able to stand far enough in front to allow Ezreal the space and allow Viego the time to rotate around and try to find a pick was really important.
And we got pretty late into the game, right, Bully? Like, we saw ornaments start to come in, but despite the Ornn and the scaling, Iceborn Dawn couldn't close it out.
I mean, kind of acknowledge how good Khan was at early in the game, the rotations. And not just the rotation from the support, the jungler, the mid laner. It was just support from this ADC as well. We didn't see your mom's OP for like the first 20 minutes of the game. They're always in the side lane farming it out while the rest of the map, their towers are going down and down. And eventually this goal lead was to the point where even though the fights were close and even though Iceborn won a little bit of those team fights, they were able to bring it back totally and actually take the Nexus for themselves. They need to know when to actually match the rotations of this Con Esports because they're going to be all over the map at 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was the scary thing, is that Khan really did get to keep a lot of their mobility. Thousand Eyes, we talked about this being a big thing for Kiwi. Did Wistfully change at all to you during the course of this game, or has this been more plug and play from Wistfully?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a plug and play. Obviously, this time we played a little bit more around the Kaisa. When you have such an early lead, you can do that really heavily. And I think just when you have, especially that Kaisa build, you just get the opportunity to walk up and take 75% of somebody's HP bar pretty easily. So I think now we've seen Wistfully like get some really solid engagers, but we also saw or sorry, the engages for Wistfully to get the fights. But we also saw the weakness of the Kaisa as well as the game went on. Fui was able to get some really big Tib results onto Wistfully, and the follow-up was there sometimes. It just wasn't enough because the rest of the team was strong enough to make up for that.
Yeah, I mean, we
Well-
saw really huge team fights. Go on.
Honestly, I want to bring up that point is, yes, the Kai'Sa was extremely fed. And did Fui actually overcommit for that kill onto Kaisa multiple times, in which
Nah.
they put themselves in a position where they got caught out. They put their own team in a position where they got caught out, and they kept on dying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you feel like they did overcommit, or they weren't overcommitting?
Early on, I think Fui
Early.
overestimated
Yeah.
their damage.
Oh
And
yeah.
what
Oh my
happens,
god.
They would flash Tibber. The team would always commit afterwards, and they would put themselves in a position where they couldn't kill Wistfully. Wistfully would get out because they had the cleanse, they had the flash, they had the ultimate, and then they had nothing left for their ensuing team fight. So they lost 1,000 golds early on. But if there's any closing remarks, I think we're getting ready for Game 3. I think Game 2 was a lot better from Iceborn, but we need to see a little bit more. So we'll kick it off back to Shibby and Yanni for Game 3 draft.
Okay, doke.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, Analyst X, so much for appreciating your insight as well. As we are getting into picks and bans here, so the teams are ready. The sides have been swapped. Shibby, what does Iceborn Dawn need to do to continue this series? Remember, it is a best of 5. They're behind the 8 ball, though. They got to win 3 in a row. They haven't been able to win 1.
Chat says I'm too loud, so now I'm going to whisper for the rest of the cast.
Oh.
Yanni.
Are we doing ASMR draft?
Actually, I'm joking.
Oh, come on. I wanted to do ASMR draft. I'm so sad.
For my producers' prayers in the background, I will not whisper here as he's going to try to balance me to not sound so too loud for the draft and for the rest of the game here. But like you mentioned, Iceborn Dawn on the blue side, finally, maybe they found the error of their ways. They're not going to ban out the Jarvan and the Gwen here. Con Esports, I don't really think they need to change up their draft strategy too much in regards to pick and ban here. They can kind of just ban the same champions they've been doing and force IBD to make them ban something else, right? Give them a reason to ban different champions. I think the only thing you can realistically change is if you want to throw the Orianna ban there on red side, but I feel like Con, they might have the champions prepared to kind of deal with it.
So something that was pretty interesting, Iceborn
Look, they're
Dawn.
banning on blue side.
Iceborn Dawn banned Gwen in game 1 in the first rotation, didn't pick a tank, but after the relative success that this Ornn had in game 2, I mean, obviously had a pretty solid lane. I'm actually expecting them to go back to it here, and that's why they're deciding to take the Gwen out here. So, you know, we'll see what the call is there. But yeah, you mentioned they banned Orianna on blue side. It's pretty shocking. Con Esports are going to go take out the Viego. We're going to see a first pick Jinx come through for Iceborn Dawn.
Yeah, but I think Con Esports, they're just happy to take the Kaisa into this. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they take like Kaisa Blitzcrank again. They could take like Kaisa Nautilus, right? Specifically into the Jinx. Gives you pretty much guaranteed point and click CC onto her. You also have that dive ability. They are going to actually opt in potentially for what is going to be the lovers duo here. Rakan is being hovered. I wouldn't be surprised if you take the Kaisa or the Xayah Rakan. That's also a pretty damn good support into the Jinx, right? You have to pretty much dodge out his W, his R. Even if he flashes, it's really, really rough if you're the Jinx here. They are going to lock in that Rakan. And so I can only expect to see a Xayah here. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't take it. Is there any situation, Yanni, where you wouldn't take the lovers duo?
No, I don't see why you wouldn't. It's just such a strong combination, especially going against the Jinx in lane. It gives you so many opportunities to go ahead and, you know, get kills. I mean, you don't necessarily have to take it 1-2 here because of the Jinx pick. But with this Tristana lock-in, I mean, if you're going to go double AD carry, you're going to show Tristana mid very early into the draft. I mean, it didn't, I'm kind of confused by that, but I don't hate it exactly. I think that's very solid.
No.
You just show your mid laner early, though. And whoa, they locked in Janna.
Yeah, and this is something that Iceborn Dawn has played actually, I believe, earlier in the season. I'm not sure if it was playoffs or if it was during the regular matches, but they have busted out the Janna before, I think, to varying success. It's good, especially since they're showing like Rakan Tristana. You can argue that Janna is like low-key a soft counter potentially. Depends on how you can time your tornadoes, time your monsoons. You can pretty much deny Rakan the ability to get in onto your team here, which is the idea behind the Janna pick. Ornn being locked in for Iceborn Dawn as well makes sense since, like you said, they banned the Gwen. Obviously, Mint Savage had a damn good time on it, and we'll see what Rizwan actually ends up taking into this Ornn. Didn't have too much fun with the Jace, I'm going to say. Is going to opt in for the Camille here is what it looks like. So, Con Esports, they've locked their top laner, and they locked their support. That Tristana pick obviously can be flexed either to the mid lane or the AD carry role here. We're going to see when they actually end up putting here, but I would, if I'm Con Esports, I just ban out more junglers, right? Like, I think I would just try to pinch Vertigo's champion pool as much as you can. They've already taken out 3. I would just go 5-ban jungle, because it feels like if Vertigo doesn't get going, or if he has a really rough time for Iceborn Dawn, the rest of the team can't really do much.
Yeah, he's shown he struggled to go toe-to-toe with Absar. A really interesting note here is that Iceborn Dawn is almost forced to ban Xayah or pick a mid laner that doesn't have a hard time into Tristana, right? And, because their Con Esports X is going to get last pick here, that means that they have the option to counter pick mid if they want and just take the Tristana bot lane. We're going to see Maokai get taken off the board here. So Iceborn Dawn is the one who is pinching the jungle pool even further. They've put a lot of confidence in Vertigo in this match.
Yeah, we are playing on live patch as well, 13.20. So I think like tank junglers and AP junglers are the move at the moment. Obviously, Graves super strong, super healthy clear, very strong at clearing. I'm surprised that we're not seeing, things like Udyr or Zac potentially, or even the Rammus being bust out. Like, there's actually a very good Rammus angle here for Iceborn Dawn potentially if Con Esports ends up locking in another ADC. All right, because then you're going double ADC into Rammus, which would be really, really nice. And I don't think there's too many junglers realistically left on the board that can hard punish a Rammus clear.
Yeah, and that would be really, really wild to see a Rammus. I'm actually pretty excited for it. They're going to ban out a Syndra here, so they're not convinced that the Tristana is going into the mid lane. Does mean that the available pool of mid laners continues to shrink here. So Fui might want to go back to that Annie if it's a possibility. It's an interesting hover. I'm not going to get baited by it. Come on, tank junglers, Rammus, things of that nature, right?
If they lock in Kindred, Vertigo has to slam Rammus here, right? There's no way.
Well, they lock Nocturne, which is also a very excellent pick and a champion that we haven't seen in this series, and we don't really see too much of. But I think the last time we saw it was at an XG Lightning, and it was in the bot lane. And you know what? Actually, I don't want to think about the last time we saw a Nocturne here in BOL.
Yeah, I do like the potential. Don't. We saw Trundle at 66, and I don't even love it.
Don't do it. This is weird.
Oh!
Okay. Okay. They go with a legitimate pick here in Wukong.
All right, you're playing with my heart for a little bit. I actually really like to see Skarner. I think he's a fun champion, but I get the idea behind Con Esports composition, right? You have Camille Nocturne dive. You can essentially hide the hook shot, right? Where she's coming from, where she's going to flank from, and you can really get onto this Jinx very, very quickly. So unless Jinx and Janna are playing right on top of each other, right? And even then, you cannot monsoon the Nocturne ultimate. You cannot monsoon the Hextech ultimatum, though you can monsoon the hook shot. It's really rough for this Janna to play, and she has to kind of wait it all out as Casadino gets locked in for the mid lane here. That is a Tristana Rakan bot lane with a scaling insurance policy mid laner into the Talia specifically, and also pretty damn good roam timing as well, right? Obviously can't match Talia because she has that wall, but Kassadin can kind of follow through relatively quickly, right, with his Rift Walk.
Yeah, I actually really love this pick, Shibby, because Mid Too Easy saw a lot of success on Kassadin in the semifinals, had a huge carry performance. The team composition's a little wonky, and I wonder if it's a case of, Con Esports. You know what happens when you go up 2-0, Shibby? You mess around in game 3 and you end up dropping it, right? Their composition's so weird. Like, Rakan goes in with a hard engage, but like Camille has to set up with hook shots, and Nocturne's gonna fly in from 3 screens away, and they're very lean, as I like to call them. They're not very tanky at all.
No, not at all. This is a who needs tank stats if we just kill the enemy team first kind of composition, right?
Mhm.
Connie's boys, they're not going to build anything. Maybe you could argue Nocturne gets a little beefy, right, with the stride breaker potentially into maybe what is a Starax gauge or something similar like that. But I doubt he's going to do that. He might just go for the full lethality, like one-shot build. While on the side of Iceborn Dawn, really good insurance policies on their end as well. They've got Ornn, they've got Jinx, they've got Wukong, who scale immensely well into the late game. Whereas on Con side, you've got Camille and you've got obviously Tristana and Kassadin as well. Both of these guys have really good like late game scaling options. It's just going to depend on execution, right? Can this Janna pick the monkey in Con Wrench's plans, right? The monkey wrench in their plans. Can he look to play spoiler? Can he get these monsoons off? Can he get these perfect nados off to where if Camille hook shots in or if Tristana jumps in, you're right there for the denial. If the space can be created for this Jinx to play, she will most likely pop off against this team fight. There are some very, very squishy targets. It only takes a couple crit rockets, and once you start going with the new Jinx passive as well, start stacking, you can end the game or end a fight very, very quickly.
Yeah, once you pop, you just can't stop. This Jinx will be able to run over the entirety of Con Esports if given the opportunity. The only problem is should be Con Esports. I heavily give them the scaling. People forget that Tristana is a menace later on in the game with her draw bead passive, getting the extra attack range, right? And you can tear through somebody like an Ornn, for example. I'm going to put the onus this game on to Vertigo, honestly, on this Wukong, right? He's going to need to really get some early ganks going, get this Talia ahead, get this Kassadin behind, actually, more importantly, and then make sure that they can try to keep Tristana behind, too. And if you can keep Talia and Jinx ahead of the curve, you can be in pretty okay shape.
Yeah, I like Wukong as well because he is a pretty damn good skirmishing jungler. You've already known, I've hemmed and maw about it. He's pretty much at full build with the Sheen. I mean, he just smacks you with crushing blows Sheen and you lose half your health. There's a real world where Vertigo starts invading onto the Nocturne because realistically, Nocturne, he wants to cycle his camps. He wants to hit level 6 as soon as possible. And I've said this before, and I'll say this again with all globals. Your first usage of the global is the most important. You really need to get a kill with it, or you need to get some sort of objective out of it, right? Either you pop it bot, burn the flashes, turn your tail towards the dragon, or you pop it top or mid, get a flash out of it, and get to the Herald. If you just gank with the Nocturne ultimate and don't get a kill and just burn a flash and you have nothing else to do afterwards, in my opinion, it's a fail because it is a long cooldown at rank 1. You really need to make that first ultimate as impactful as possible.
It is a super large investment, especially when you're staring down the Iceborn Dawn ultimates, Ornn, Wukong, Talia, very intimidating ultimates that can cause a lot of chaos in a fight. We are now in the spectator delay. This could be the final game of the Blue Otter Masters season. Con Esports X looking to lift the trophy. Iceborn Dawn looking to force game 4. We'll see you soon.
You'll do ad read.
All right, Otters. This could be the last game of the Blue Otter Master season. I want to see both of these teams show out. I want to see Iceborn Dawn take it to another game. Oh, Chill Will Kills the spot of the team. He is sprinting in the other direction. And you know why he's able to sprint in the other direction so fast, Shibby? Because I'm sure he's used special code Blue Otter for a discount at purchase for Glitch Energy. Pick up your Glitch Energy drink mix today.
Yeah, it's probably also, you know, just has that Janna move speed passive, right? It's just naturally really, really fast here. And
did he learn that on Coachify?
I did. I think I did learn that on Coachify.gg, right?
Oh, tell me. No. Let's stop. Let's stop. We've done enough here. As seeing the teams set up here, Shibby, I gotta be honest. I'm actually kind of expecting a little bit of a boring early game. I don't really expect either of these junglers to kind of invade or anything like that. I think they're just like pretty chill if they're like, well, I'll hit level 6 and you'll hit level 6, and then we'll see who's got the better level 6 play.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much CC setup other than Talia in that mid lane, right? I mean, obviously you can argue Ornn, but you're never playing towards the Ornn lane, right? Like I don't think we saw Vertigo really go top unless it was like a guaranteed kill, like a flashless Jace. I think that was in the in last game. Vertigo should be playing for the Talia, like you mentioned, should be trying to get mid to easy as far down as possible. And like on the bottom side, yeah, you have Jinx, but you unfortunately have paired that with Janna and Enchanter. So you have to kind of bring some of that CC for yourself. And so Vertigo, we might see him throw a gank here and there into the mid lane is what I'm expecting. If Mint Savage can get the better of Rizwan in this top lane, get him into like a kill percentage, that's a free pickup potentially. But yeah, I think you're right. We are going to see a relatively quiet early game, at least from the jungler's perspective. And if anything, Wistfully and Kiwi are the ones going to be looking to start things off in that bot lane, right? A Rakan W, a Tristana jump in, and that could just be the death of either Jinx or Janna here.
Yeah, and you saw your mom's OP was a little low, did level up, so it doesn't look nearly as bad, but was half HP at level 1. Meanwhile, Mint Savage, I mean, this is a reason why this guy's Ornn has been banned so many times and is feared, is because, you know, he gives you a pretty solid lane. Rizwan, I mean, you know, the CS numbers, just forget the CS numbers up there, right? They are slugging it out, although Rizwan getting the better of him for right now and maybe able to close out on a kill here, but Mint Savage able to waddle himself away to safety.
Yeah, I'm surprised Rizwan didn't go for the more popular summoner choice for Camille's, right? The TP Ignite, just to apply that kill pressure. Because you can get into situations like this where, like, you get that, you know, massive, like, true damage passive auto right onto them. And you could just, like, snipe them with the Ignite and you'll get an early kill here. Instead, going for that added safety, potentially just because Mint Savage has been getting pretty much the better of them in that lane, that you want to have that extra safety in case you want to flash an ability, flash a stun, flash a knockup, or whatever here. It gives you that more outplay potential, at least into the later phases of the game here. But Absar, full clearing from top to bot, is also going to get a relatively free Scuttle Crab here. Both of these guys, IPD Vertigo was here first. He's going to chase out Kiwi and Absar. He's going to get the crab, he's going to get out, and they'll be fine. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, he uses a spell shield and will survive, but is forced to use the flash. A solid flash there by Fui to force the flash out of Absar. But, you know, I think he'll actually take that trade given the fact that Talia doesn't really have a way to get out. And once you hit level 6, that might be the target.
Yeah, generally I would be like pretty against trading flash for flash if you're the mid laner and they're the jungler. I think junglers will take that any single time. But also, yeah, it is just Kassadin in the mid lane. Like, you're not really under any kill threat. And like you said, if Absar can hit level 6 before Fui's flash is up, then yeah, definitely that's where he should look to be going. But I think as of right now, you take the flash out, you potentially put in the idea on Absar that, hey, this Vertigo jungle in Wukong could come and invade you. As now, Absar's just going to wrap around. Mint Savage does have flash available.
Absar took the time to clear the ward. Mint Savage just had complete blinders on, but he will use his flash to get out of there and do a little bit to Rizwan on the way back.
I thought it was going to be a kill. But yeah, like you said, he took time to clear the ward. Wasn't really available as Fui is just going to eat a Kassadin Q here. And he'll probably
take time to clear the ward.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, if you already have the wraparound, you're already so far behind them, you want to try to get there as quick as possible. I'm surprised. I feel like Rizwan and Absar just haven't been on the same page. Yeah, their team's been winning the game, but these two feel so desynced as a top jungle duo.
Oh, Rizwan. He got baited by the Ornn and decided to go in and will have to use his flash. Meanwhile, pair of exhausts and an ignite getting used as well as a ghost in this bot lane as they continue to trade blows.
Yeah, and with that, Rizwan does have to stay in the top lane because Mint Savage is here. None of them opting in for the bag, but specifically, Mint Savage just has to wait out a little bit longer. Both their TPs relatively on the same cooldown, although Mint Savage has a bit of a head start, and so he's going to clear this wave out. Let's see if he can get all these minions. Oh, never mind. We're actually going to see Fui roaming down to the bot lane here. Yeah, I like this, but also Absol is not level 6.
Yeah, Absol is not level 6 yet, which means it is time for Fui to come in, try to make something happen. Tristana did get on the other side of the wall, did get stunned up, but Mr. Kiwiism also able to find a way out without having to burn any summoner. So a big time sink there for Fui, nothing gained.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tristana and Rakan have two really easy ways to get over a wall. 2 jumps and you're gone. I was surprised that Fui threw the rocks or the Legos down so far ahead, as now this Cassidy might be in a bit of trouble. That's a Riftwalk over, potentially.
Yeah, but he'll be okay. Virgo not able to chase him out, and it's too easy. He's just like, yeah, you know what? I don't really care about this Fui guys. Takes a couple more rocks to the face.
Savage.
You ever take a rock to the face? Uh-oh. Wait, you might take a ram to the face here, but everything's okay. No action.
I've taken a lot of things to the face, not a rock. I've taken a basketball. You can count that as a rock. Like they call it the rock.
Yeah, right? They call it the rock for a reason. Thank God you went there. You know, I'm nervous. I'm nervous ever since game 2. You know, you can hear it in my voice. Right now, I'm actually kind of nervous at how this game is shaking out here because Shimmy, it's been 7 minutes, and I mean, like, I know these players are really, really high level, but I'm surprised we haven't seen a first blood yet because of the typical aggressiveness that comes out. We might see one here as Vertigo may give his life for the crowd, but Absar is completely alone and is knocked right into Fui. No and first blood for Fui. Where are your solo laners, man?
Oh, unfortunately, you are playing with a Kassadin, and that guy's never going to have shove. He's never going to have push, and so Absar takes
Kassadin.
Yeah, it takes the 1v1 onto Vertigo. It's actually winning with the lethal tempo, but crucially, if you guys remember, Fui burned flash for flash onto Absar. And if you're wondering, why is Fui's flash up before Absar's? It's because they have gone into the inspiration tree. They have taken Cosmic Insight, so their flash is going to be up prior to Absar's here. And because that flash gets blown, she can then follow up onto Absar, get the kill. That was master level planning.
You know, Shibby, while you were talking about Fui's flash, I said to myself, yeah, Fui's going to need it in a second because mid too easy. He's just going to use his and just jump right on Fui. And guess what happened? It happened, and now Abzar dropping his ultimate, that paranoia up in the top lane. Should be easy pickings for either the jungler or the top laner. Abzar will be the one to pick it up.
I'm sorry.
You sound distressed.
That's my fault. I Caster cursed him. I was praising him. Very good job. And then he just gets casted, right? He just gets like flash rift walked and you're dead. You can't reward a good play without a bad play, unfortunately, in BOL Masters here. And so Kassadin picks himself up a kill. Absar picks himself up a kill here. And I mentioned how important that first Nocturne ultimate is. Well, you've delivered. You've gotten a kill onto Mint Savage, although you would have hoped to potentially give that over to Rizwan. It's not too bad on the Nocturne, and at least finally they can threaten some more ultimates, right? Because also the reason why you want to get kills, the reason why you particularly want to get a takedown is because I'm assuming he's spec'd into the ultimate hunter tree so that he can get more ultimates off prior to the laning phase being over here. So that's one for himself right now. Let's see if he can get a couple more.
Yeah, well, if he didn't have Rizwan would have been the one to pick up that kill. You saw a nice little attempt at a play there in the bottom lane, but Wistfully and Mr. Kiwiism are just a little too slippery, and now it is once again a Rift Herald for Dragon trade. And Shibby, you know, I want to give you the floor here. After the Dragon nerfs, you know, we've seen Khan Esports X put a heavy emphasis on the Rift Heralds, and they are the team that's up 2-0. Is that correlation or causation?
So there has been, across some other leagues, and I think we saw it in 666 as well, a lot of teams are actually opting in more to giving those dragons. Even though Herald got nerfed and Plate Gold got nerfed, the first dragon for first herald trade, right? In this case, if you're on the herald receiving team, I personally think it's actually really, really good. If you opt into stacking the later dragons, right, you typically give the first 2. If you're feeling risky, you can give the first 3. But if you can stack 4 of the same kind of dragon into that ocean, into that soul, that dragon soul, they buffed it. They gave it compensation buffs. That's much better than having 2 random dragons and no heralds and not being able to crack open turrets, not pushing gold further into the favor of your carry. So I actually really enjoy trading both heralds for 2 dragons most of the time.
Yeah, and so far so good for the side of Con Esports X. Although, as Absar is going to have to drop it at some point in time. They've been mildly successful with all of their Rift Heralds, so I expect that to continue. As you can continue to see Vertigo putting pressure on the spot lane. It should be, I have to say, he put no pressure on the Kassadin early. He's put little pressure onto Rizwan. I mean, this bot lane, you're not going to kill them. I mean, you know, I hate to speak into existence, but their summoners are up. They have escapes. What are we doing?
Yeah, Savage. He's gonna get the Forge God. Oh, okay.
Rizwan, nice
almost kills Rizwan, and this is what's impressed me so much about Mint Savage specifically, that he's taking these tank into carry matchup lanes, and he's threatening kills. Right, as now Mid Too Easy sees a decently low Ornn, he's gonna go for him.
Yep, there's going to be a teleport getting burned here. That's Fui coming to join the fight. Paranoia goes down, flash for flash there. Means that Min Savage will die. It's just a matter of who's going to be the one to pick it up. Rizwan in the area, but he will make sure he's out of trouble. Fui unable to get anything done. It's a 1 for nothing.
Yeah, and there's a real world where we just drop this Herald potentially into the top lane for the Camille or even the Kassadin if he wants to stick here. Or if they're going to look to drop it potentially for that bot lane in the Tristan and the Rakan, who, in my opinion, has only been pressured once. And then Fui was like, you know what? I'm never doing that again. That sucked. I'm not going to Leo Wall here. And Kiwi are going to go in with Wistfully. TP as well.
Yeah, big double charm, but that TP is going to take a little while for Mid Too Easy to get there. Chill Will kills your mom's OP, able to get out with minimal Summoner's Burn.
Yeah, they're going to mark the TP from Mid Too Easy. Ram's OP and Chill Will. This Jana pick's working out relatively well. The Monsoon wasn't burned. I'm kind of surprised. They're probably saving that for potentially like a 4-man dive or a 3-man dive. So I like the fact that Con Esports isn't trying to force the issue onto this bot lane. They are happily willing to farm it out with the Tristana, with the Rakan, because like you said, Tristana also scales decently well into the mid game, into the late game. Maybe not as well as a Jinx, right, with the passives and the rockets and everything like that, but can hold her own and can be a carrying force. As Absar is just going to drop this in the mid lane. I like this. Inject more gold into your Kassadin. Get him to those scaling items quicker, as he is going to go Roa into Seraphs. If you can get that, if you can kickstart that as fast as possible, he's going to be a real force to be reckoned with. Obviously, the meme is that you need level 16 Kassadin, but if he's a 3-item Kassadin at like level 13, level 14, he's going to rip through your carries.
Yeah. Yep, no plate gold going to Kassadin there, but Absar will be the one to get credit for it. And just, you know, you got to drop it down before the turret platings go away. As you can see, a little bit of warding getting done here into Vertigo's jungle on the bottom side. So something to be aware of. Meanwhile, Mint Savage taking a bad part of a trade with Rizwan, who's about to pick up a third plate, and he's going to just drop the X-Deck ultimatum, and he just kills him. But the Call of Fortune is going to slow him on the way out and take out Rizwan. It's a 1-for-1. Mid Too Easy, just kind of in the area. He's on the Legos, but he doesn't really care about the Legos. Ultimate from the Jinx coming through, not doing much as they want to find an engagement onto Vertigo, but no, they found the engagement onto Jinx, who is completely blinded and feared, and Absar follows him straight over the wall, picks up the kill. Chill Will kills, has to flash away, and now you're seeing Con Esports X begin to become decisive and try to increase their lead.
And that's what happens when you first pick Jinx, right? Like, it's nightmare scenario. You've got a Nocturne, you've got an ulting Rakan, you've got Kassadin coming over the back, right? Like, it's dark, the lights are off, you don't know where anything is, and you're dead in an instant. Your mom's OP is just not going to have a good time this game. Simply put, he's not allowed to have even a modicum of fun.
Yeah. You're all alone at night. It's super dark, and out of the woods you spot him, Shia Nocturne, as it's been a pretty rough time there for your mom's OP. First turret gonna go to the side of this Tristana. Huge gold infusion to that bot lane that is just getting further and further ahead after recent events.
Yeah, now, I mean, I said that most teams opt in for just giving the dragon away, but in this case, you've got such a massive lead as we pan over the gold right now. You don't have to give it, right? You don't have to if you don't want to. You can just take it, because now this one is going to potentially pick up. He's waiting for the TP!
Yeah, that is very savage of Rizwan there, as he wants a full engagement with Mint Savage, who does not have Call the Forge God right now. Will take him to below half HP, but unable to do more. Still, good fight.
I don't know. I respect the play from Rizwan, right? I get what he was trying to do. He wanted Mint Savage TP in so he could potentially get the kill. He wanted more. Obviously, like, that play didn't work out, and in hindsight, yeah, you could have argued that, hey, maybe you should have just canceled the TP by taking the turret and pushed 2 waves in, deny him more, but I respect the fact that Rizwan went for that, specifically because he has the Divine Sunderer. I believe Hextech Ultimatum was always coming up pretty soon, and he thought Mint Savage would try to turn and fight him. Nothing lost too much here is now Fufui is in some trouble.
Oh yeah, he's caught in the Hextech Ultimatum, and they've got plenty of damage. Rizwan gonna get credit for that kill. Call the Forge God only gonna hit 1, but Kiwi's gonna come and charm 2 up, and here comes Nocturne. Big knockups all around. Wukong Cyclone trying to do something, but mid too easy. Teleports in and is gonna turn this fight for the side of Con Esports X. They don't lose any members, baby. 4 for nothing.
Yeah, you thought potentially Rizwan was in some trouble here, and with that ultimate, Nocturne's been 3 for 3 on these every single time he's gotten a kill here, and now he's going to get the objective on top of that. This game, I thought it would be closer. I thought it was like, all right, Iceborn Dawn, they got their pieces, they got what they wanted. Maybe they had the Janna here with the outdraft potential, but there is just too much dive on the side of Con Esports X, and unfortunately, Fui and Vertigo, they cannot carry the damage load. This comp really hinges on this Jig succeeding, and Con Esports went, well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, Iceborn Dawn is like, well, I got all 5 pieces of Exodia, but it was like the fake Exodia that was in the anime, right? And Con Esports X has the real Exodia, and you can see it coming through here. Chill Will kills as the next victim.
I mean, they've got all the god cards. They got Slifer. They've got Obelisk the Tormentor. They've got the Winged Dragon of Ra. I mean, realistically, Con Esports X is cheating at this point. They've got everything in their hands.
They're playing Pot of Greed. Wait, what's Pot of Greed do?
Oh, it allows you to draw 2 more kills if you're on the side of Con Esports X here. As Mid Too Easy potentially wants to go in onto Fui. Yeah. The bell has tolled, right, Yanni? The indicator that you are far behind has become alive here. The objective bounties have ticked over, and if that's not an indication you're behind, nothing else is.
Well,
the gold lead.
There's another
7,000. What is the indicator? Let me know.
The indicator is you can hit tab and see all the shutdowns above all of the enemy champions, except for Mr. Kiwiism.
Yeah, except for Mr. Kiwi, who might getting a shutdown pretty soon if he gets like a kill. I wouldn't be surprised if they put one over.
Mr. Kiwi looking for the shutdown. He's going to engage onto Fui. Cyclone coming out. He's going to try to get out with Mid Too Easy. Are they going to kill Mr. Kiwi? They charm is out, and he's going to run out of there. They're going to take out the Wukong as Mid Too Easy's on a killing spree. But Mr. Kiwi still doesn't have a shutdown. All the Forge God on the top side. Fantastic Hextech Ultimatum, but he dies to the turret anyway! Shut down to Mint Savage.
Mint Savage, the most elo-held player in BOL Masters right now. I mean, this guy, you throw yanks at him, you throw multiple teammates at him, and he's still able to get a kill on the 3-2 Camille, who has like all the help in the world, who has the Divine Sunder over you, who has the Tiamat over you. I mean, Mint Savage is he's playing so well, but the rest of the map, in typical top lane fashion, is falling apart.
Yo, did you see Fui under bot inner turret just contemplating life for a second? He was just sitting there like, yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got myself into this mess, as it's a nearly 8,000 gold lead, not even at 19 minutes. And here comes Mr. Kiwiism to make a big play. Good flash there from your mom's OP, so we'll stay alive for now, but it's a summoner burnt all the same.
Yeah, and you get the Monsoon out as well. That's a high value W coming out from Mr. Kiwi, right? I mean, that engage got a flash. It got a Monsoon. I mean, you're more than happy as Vertigo. Yeah, well, just looking to
Charles to get that crash. Oh, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for, Shibby. I'm surprised You didn't mention the Baron waiting room here because guess what? They have to try to contend with Casted, and here comes that Jinx ult, and Jinx Rocket from downtown to cut the deficit to 42 there, as it doesn't really do much of anything. And the rest of the side of Iceborn Dawn knows that there's nothing they can do, and with this Dragon coming up, it looks like it's going to be a simple rotation from Khan Esports X, as Mid2Easy is ready to take bot inner turret all for himself. 600 gold in the pocket.
Oh, Fufu's level 12. I
He's
legitimately
fine.
I think Mid2Easy, if he wanted to, could have turned it potentially. Lights go out.
Uh-oh, good Cyclone out there, but big double trump,
Oh!
big double knockup. However, Fuifui has joined the fight. They're looking to get some damage onto Mr. Kiwiism. He's still alive. Teleports are coming in, and here comes Rizwan with Mid2Easy. He's been exhausted. Min Savage trying to do something on the backside. Just find the knockup onto Kiwi. Kiwi does fall, but Mid2Easy does too much damage. He's just rift walking around, man. It's a double kill for the cast.
Might be the game
Wistfully kills, chill, will, kills, triple
They might
kill
end!
for Mid2Easy. The cherry on top as they take out the middle inhibitor turret. The middle inhibitor, they have minions, they have damage, the death timers are there. Shibby, let's be honest, it was a 3-0 sweep all along.
Yeah, you thought Iceborn Dawn would come out here a little bit more competitive, a little bit more savvy on the draft, but at every moment, at every turn, Khan Esports X just outdrafts them. I mean, look at this composition. How is your mom's OP allowed to even play this game? He's not, right? You've got the lights off. You've got the lights off. You've got the Tristana jumping over the middle. You've got Rakan engaged being hidden. There is so much to unpack here. And I think realistically, the TLDR is Khan Esports. They got the brains, they got the bronze, they've got the fingers, and they are your BOL Masters champions for this season.
Yeah, they got the trophy too, Shibby, and with a composition like that, I mean, this is a team that took a late game composition and won in like 20 minutes. Like that is not very easy to do, right? Like it just felt like there was a large mismatch between Absol and Vertigo. And I don't think there's a mismatch in terms of player skill. I think Vertigo got scarred from that game one where things just did not go well, right? Where he got invaded and he lost a lot of camps and he died really early. And there was really not much that he could do. And the rest of the team suffered for it. And you saw in that third game, he played very reserved and didn't make any impact on any of these lanes.
Yeah, it was super, super rough. And unfortunately, Khan Esports, better team on the day, better team on the draft. Congratulations to them. Obviously, Iceborn Dawn, it still takes a lot to make it to the finals, right? Not to discredit them. They are a damn good team, and they clearly were the second best team in BOL Masters. Like, that is, in my opinion, undisputed. But Khan Esports X, yeah, I mean, they just adapted to the draft. They adapted to what Iceborn Dawn was doing. And it felt like, I said, at every moment, they were just getting out drafted really, really quickly. You saw that, like, it felt like Iceborn Dawn was getting what they wanted. But Khan Esports, they're like, okay, you want to draft Jinx first pick? We're going to dive you. Oh, you want to do this? Oh, we're going to throw Jace in the top lane. Oh, you want to play Ezreal? We're going to play Kai'Sa, Blitzcrank, and deny you any sort of scaling, right? We're going to go in and dive everybody. We're going to make sure that all of your carries are under constant threat here. It just felt like they had all the answers. And I don't think Iceborn Dawn, maybe they reached into their bags, but it just wasn't deep enough.
They did have all the answers, but the Blue Water League staff, specifically the analyst desk, will have questions, and we'll see if new Blue Water League champion Mr. Kiwiism will have all the answers. We have a championship interview coming up very shortly. Shibby and I are going to pass it off to the analyst desk after this short break. Oh, straight over.
Bada bing, bada boom. We're here. And I don't know if Bully's here. Bully, are you here with us, or are you setting something else up? Bully's setting something else up. All right. So let's break down the third game and overall the series. Dory, I'll start with you because I like to switch up which way clockwise I end up doing things. So which was our closest game of the series? Did you feel like this adequately reflected the matchup between these teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think game two had.
I can't hear you. That's okay. He'll be back. He probably hit a button.
Just shut up.
Did.
All right.
I was
Thousand Eyes-
server muted. I will
There we
not
go,
be
there we go.
silenced, bully.
I'm censoring you. Calm down.
Anyways,
It's just not a free
he just doesn't
Discord.
want to. He just doesn't want to hear what I have to say, I guess.
This is a
All right.
dictatorship.
All right. So game 2 definitely felt like it had the most opportunity. That they had a few moments where they managed to trade objectives really well, managed to get on Soul Point and make it seem like victory was plausible, but Khan managed to still drag their way back into that game. At this point, game 3 felt pretty doomed when you see Kassadin just not getting punished to the degree that it needs to be punished and just picking up 2 random kills pre-15. It's pretty much over at that point. Camille hit Divine Sunder, lane was over. Ornn definitely looked like it had capabilities that it had game 2, but it just, I don't know. I see game 3 and I think it's pretty doomed at that point. So I think, well played, Khan. Good job, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no arguing that they did well. And while in this individual series, it may not have looked like they had to change their game plan substantially from what won them the rest of the season. Thousand Eyes, I still think that Iceborn Dawn, specifically as Dory mentioned in Game 2, did have a shot. And while Game 3 may have felt a little further from that, we could still see them trying things, notably with Talia from the mid lane actively trying to make roam attempts.
Yeah, I think it was just really unfortunate. The Talia as a concept is great just to roam around and either, get this Jinx ahead or, Ornn worked last time. If Ornn gets ahead, just gank him and get him large enough that the damage mitigation is strong. But the problem became, how do you make this work when you have Camille in the top side who can just E over the wall, or Rakan Tristana who can just both jump over the wall individually? There's no real opportunities that the wall really creates in that scenario, barring a missed cooldown use by Khan. So I love the Talia looks. It's just unfortunately when you look at the composition as a whole that you're playing against, there aren't chances for you.
No, Bully, I believe you can hear me. We pray to the Bully God. We've got
Sure can.
interviews ready, right? Are they ready?
Yeah.
Are we waiting? Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead and
so
introduce our guests.
I mean, of course, we're gonna take the Blitzcrank, the Bard Wonder, the Roman God himself, the person that's on the entire map at the same time, Mr. Kiwiism, and also the person that goes absolutely batshit crazy into the enemy jungle at level 1 is Absar. So we got both of them here today. They played extremely well. We felt like they were just clear cut, like just the playmakers of the team. And how are you both doing?
I'm feeling great.
Doing well. We're champions, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
and that was pretty convincingly, right, Dia?
Yeah, very well played series. Kiwism, this studying for this series was actually my first chance getting to see you, and as a support player myself, I very much enjoyed the energy with which you approach the role. So the first question is going to be to you about how you and the team have found a ground on which you can actually coordinate plays together. Are you often the lead, the vocal person on the team? Who's calling the shots, and how does that work behind the scenes?
I think I mean, a lot of time with our team, it's like, we're just like communicating what we see in the game, and like if something looks good, we'll go for it. Like, or if we hit like a timer, if we have an opportunity to do something, we will. Usually, like if you've seen like most games nowadays, like Absar's usually on like the first engage, and I'm kind of playing secondary engage. Maybe not on the Blitzcrank, but it's usually like Absar first, then me, and then we just hope everyone follows up. Or like on the same page with that.
Pray to the gods. When I go in, I just close my eyes.
Yeah.
You don't say. That was actually what I was going to ask you guys about. The play that developed in the early game, game 1, it led to some pretty early kills and getting this mid matchup rolling fairly quick. What can you break down the lead up to seeing that play become possible?
Which play? You're talking about the invade on the Wolves?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I don't remember exactly. I kind of don't remember.
Oh,
I was-
I'll take
Yeah, I'm
over.
sorry, take it.
So when I got to my Raptors, and I was like, no way, he just went from my Raptor or his Raptors to my Raptors. I was a little caught off, and then I kind of got pissed off. So I was like, that's it, we're going into this jungle. And then I just started
Well, we had
running his shit. We were in his blue buff, then we
So-
went around to his Raptors.
So it was
Yeah,
blind
and they-
rage. There wasn't.
well,
That's how I like to make my
little
calls
bit.
personally.
we had
And,
Cryo
no,
bot.
Yeah, Kiwi was with
so-
me the whole way, so shout out Kiwi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just flash queued the Maokai and he dies.
I actually want to talk about game number 2 because that was definitely the game that felt like the closest, and especially just how long that game kind of extended on. It felt like every time there was an end to the game, there was some just staying power by Iceborn there. Were you guys getting frustrated? Were you guys getting a little worried if you may not be able to close out the game there?
I was on Maokai, dude. I'm just a pussy.
Yeah, I was on Blitzcrank.
The brain just goes off. Maokai, I push W, I push R, I win the game.
There was definitely a little bit more frustration that game, like trying to end and like, oh, we keep misplaying, oh, we keep fucking
Yeah.
up around the map, like.
I would say that nobody was like upset or angry though, because I think going into the series, we pretty much knew that we had it in the bag. So nobody was upset. We we knew we were trolling a little bit, and our coach yelled at us after game 2. But yeah, we managed to pull out the 3-0, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of coaching and your game plan, Absar, this question is mostly for you. One of the major differences between you and Iceborn, or rather Con Esports as a whole and Iceborn, was the way that you approached dragons and their prioritization. Why was this not a focus for Con? What aspects of your game plan were you relying on outside of that?
So with the dragon nerfs this patch,
Mhm.
they're a little bit less worth to go for, but this is something our coaches, Dory and Moz had been kind of hammering into us even before this patch, that it's okay to trade early dragons for objectives on the other side of the map, or even if we can't get a tower, I could at least take his whole topside jungle. So basically, don't tilt too hard into taking a dragon fight if we aren't there first, and walking into them could be hard. So
Mhm.
I would say like that's why we don't prioritize dragons as much. But if we see a good opportunity to take one, we will take one as long as it just doesn't affect our tempo.
No, I mean, I remember seeing the Baron Dragon trade and going, surely this is the most egregious mistake. And then you won the game. So
We
your coaches are onto something.
yeah, we won so many games where the other team has soul, and it's just like, is it even worth getting soul? Because they're just losing the whole map, and they're like, hey, got soul though.
Feels good. Bully, any last questions or things that you want to throw
Yeah,
towards us?
I mean, now that you are going to game 4 of this best of 7, um, no, just kidding. But this is actually going to be not BOL related. It's actually going to be what you're going to play tomorrow, which is in Aegis, which I know you are in finals as well. I don't think it's the exact same roster,
It
but
is
you
the
have
same
another
roster.
best of 5, and it's going against another team. Are you going to approach that the same way that you did against Iceborn, or do you have another thing cooking and another way to play the game rather than go super aggressive at them? Get the early heralds, get the early goal advantage, and then just snowball your way to victory.
I don't want to leak strats, but like obviously we think
We know
that
what you're gonna do, Kiwi. It's not
our
very hard to
competition
tell.
tomorrow.
You're gonna leave the lane at level 1. You're gonna say screw bot lane. I'm going up the top lane. I'm gonna flash E under tower as Blitzcrank level 1, and then you're gonna not take hook level 1 because you forgot that you had it.
No, we think our competition is like a lot better tomorrow as a team in general. Like their
Shots
team
fired.
play, their mechanics, their everything about them. And so I mean we definitely have something cooking up. Like we have better strategies cooking up, and we're hoping to be like more clean tomorrow.
Mhm.
But I don't wanna
Yeah,
leak too
so
much.
tomorrow, like obviously our opponents are quite good. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Iceborn Dawn. Getting to the finals obviously is no small feat, and game 2 was pretty close, so well played to them. But as for tomorrow, like I think it's probably going to be our hardest matchup we've played up till now. Like we beat GGG in the regular season in AML. That was a 2-1, but that series could have gone either way. So no matter what happens tomorrow, we're just hoping it's a good best of 5 and the viewers like it. And obviously at the end of the day, we come out champions in AML as well. Because if not, I'm coming back in January. So
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you are the favorites, in my opinion,
Mm.
because you guys had a dominant regular season, and honestly, you both had dominant playoffs for you and Grumpy Grumps. So I'll probably tune in tomorrow. But if anyone else has questions for them, or if you guys want to have a
You know
quick,
what?
minutes to say something, then go ahead.
All I'm gonna say is they better ban Blitz. That's all I'm gonna say.
Better
Uh,
ban Frank.
quick shout out to Khan. I'm the owner of the org. This was our first split entering in any sort of tournaments or events. And I'm just proud of all the staff, the coaches, the players, and everyone that has put so much into our first split to getting us here. We also have a plat team in BOL and a diamond team, which are both doing extremely well as well. So look out to the viewers, look out for their playoff games. And yeah, that's it. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.
I don't know if that's the stream close or not. Bully, do you want to close us out officially?
Yeah, I mean,
Bully,
this
do your
was-
job.
That
What
guy
the-
like
I
you
don't want
nailed
to do
it.
my job.
Come
I don't know
on.
if anyone would have did. I asked if anyone had
You wanna-
questions, and
This
No,
man
I-
says he's a host.
start closing it out himself. But okay, but thank you everyone for joining us. Yeah, today I kind of like brought you guys on for the last week. I asked if anyone would join us, and you guys did an extremely good job. I'm glad to have all of you. Yeah, you're welcome. But a big thing to note is that yeah, it was a short season. I'm glad to have all the teams that participated this season. It was a fun season. It was, not that many issues, and I hope to see a lot of these teams back next season. As for Khan, congratulations once again. You guys played a fantastic series. Guys had a fantastic season, and but the league's not over yet for BOL for the rest of the ranks. We have Plat tomorrow. We have Gold on Wednesday. We have IBS on Thursday and Diamond on Saturday. We have way too many days that we have to play League of Legends, but you know what? We love it. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow exactly at 8 Eastern Time.